Chapter 11:17. If there were enough marsh crocodiles for the water demon Foliu to eat. Foliu the water demon could grow rapidly through its talent, and it could build a kingdom for humanoid swamp creatures to live in with its branches underwater. Unknowingly, one of Wendy's believers had opened up Lin Yuan's journey under the swamp. Before Lin Yuan could check the water demon Foliu's body, he emerged from the swamp. Suddenly, two violent energy fluctuations came from the distance. These two violent energy fluctuations made Lin Yuan, who was unprepared underwater, choke on two mouthfuls of water. The water in the swamp world did not have any strange smell. At most, it was mixed with some of the marsh crocodile's earthy and rotten plant smell. It was not harmful to humans. On the contrary, if one looked closely, the humus-rich water also had a lot of nutrients. Drinking the swamp water was better for the human body than drinking mountain spring water. However, when he thought of the two halves of the marsh crocodiles and the swamp full of blood, Lin Yuan could not help but feel nauseous. However, Lin Yuan did not care so much. When he felt the strong smell of faith in the two fluctuations, his pupils suddenly constricted. Lin Yuan had just emerged from the water, and before he could reach the shore, the violent energy collision and power of faith fluctuation came again. The energy collision and power of faith fluctuation were much stronger than before. It seemed that the target of the energy collision and power of faith fluctuation was getting closer and closer to his location. This situation was very much like two apostles heading in his direction while exchanging blows. When the energy collision and power of faith fluctuation came for the third time, it was accompanied by a series of angry shouts. "Bai Yan! You brought your son to my territory, so why would I attack your son behind your back?" This angry female voice was very shrill and sharp. Lin Yuan could also faintly hear a trace of fear and dread in her words. Obviously, the woman who spoke was not Bai Yan's match. Following the woman's voice was an arrogant male voice. "Scorpion Qian, my son is fine. Why would he leave my sight? Even if you did not send someone to attack my son, the living beings in your territory naturally have to pay the price for making my son disappear." After the male voice sounded, several more violent energy collisions came. Lin Yuan had already reached the shore. The moment the sky killer butterfly sensed the energy collision from afar, it arrived at the edge of the swamp. Upon seeing Lin Yuan come ashore, the slaughter sky butterfly said eagerly, "Lin Yuan, the level of this energy fluctuation has obviously surpassed that of a creation seed. This territory is terrible." As it spoke, the predator butterfly's expression became more and more solemn, completely ignoring the feelings of the others present. Lin Yuan was Purple Firmament's contractor. If Lin Yuan died, Purple Firmament would die. No matter what, even if it had to risk its life, it had to ensure Lin Yuan's safety. The intensity of the energy fluctuations in the distance far exceeded that of the sky killer butterfly's strength by too much. Even if the slaughter sky butterfly was one of the three great butterfly species phase with supreme bloodlines, it had just become a creation breed. Because his injuries had not fully recovered, he had not even reached the sovereign king level. In the face of the hidden threat in the distance, the killer butterfly knew very well that it was powerless. Upon hearing the slaughter sky butterfly's words, Lin Yuan gritted his teeth and pondered. While Lin Yuan was pondering, the Medusa demons, including the scaled concubine, had ashen faces. Among the Medusa demons, the scaled concubine had been by Lin Yuan's side for the longest time. The other Medusa demons had only been in this territory for a few days and had just seen Lin Yuan for the first time. However, it was undeniable that in the dangerous swamp, this territory was the paradise in the hearts of all the Medusa demons. They didn't have to worry about food, and there was a group of humanoid creatures that could build beautiful buildings. There were also two growing apostles in the territory. One of the apostles was even willing to accept them as believers and even favor them. But now, this paradise, which had just given the Medusa snake demons a sense of belonging, was about to be destroyed. The Medusa demons looked at Lin Yuan with hope in their eyes, silently begging him to take them with him when he fled. After pondering for a moment, Lin Yuan's expression suddenly became firm. Lin Yuan waved his hand and summoned the imperial weapon, Lu Yenshan. At this moment, The Void Shadow Demon turned from a shadow into a solid body and stood firmly in front of Lin Yuan. It looked straight in the direction of the power of faith fluctuations in the distance. The power of faith fluctuations in the distance caused the Void Shadow Demon's expression to turn cold. The Void Shadow Demon did not persuade Lin Yuan to leave and just truthfully told him what it sensed. Lord Ruler, it's too far away. I can't feel how strong the power of faith fluctuations are. But one of the apostles' power of faith can reach at least a lower average level. The Void Shadow Demon's words let Lin Yuan know that at least one of the apostles rushing over could activate the Origin Saint body. The Slaughter Sky Butterfly had just said that the energy fluctuations coming from afar exceeded the scope of creation breeds. It said that the apostles coming from the Ming dynasty were at least class 12. Given Morbius' current grade, it was unable to use true data to see through life forms above the creation breed. After understanding this, Lin Yuan was not prepared to use true data to investigate the apostles that were rushing over. Previously, when he had probed the Moon Empress's carriage pulling Faye in the Radiant Moon Palace, Lin Yuan knew that when he used Morbius true data to detect targets beyond the detection range, the target could clearly sense his probing. After confirming the strength of the apostles rushing over, Lin Yuan had no intention of escaping. Lin Yuan had just laid down his foundation in this swamp world. With the three apostles working together, only then was there a perfect closed loop of development. If he retreated now, it would be equivalent to giving up all of his previous efforts. If they left at the same time, Endless Summer's sacred source life form, Arakoa Orchid, would be destroyed. Endless Summer wasn't in the swamp world right now, and even if Endless Summer was in the swamp world, it would be impossible for Endless Summer to survive. It was impossible to recover Arakawa Orchid Sprout in a short time. If they chose to evacuate with the life forms in the swamp world, the treasure cave Golden Toad's skin and stomach pouch would not be enough. In the end, it was destined to expose the existence of the Spirit Lock spatial zone. Unless Lin Yuan could give up on the 35 spirit craftsmen who had immediately responded to him after hearing that he wanted to avoid them. He reached out to touch the extreme token on his chest, and his heart sank. Lin Yuan said to the Slaughter Sky Butterfly, "Sky Killer Butterfly, take these Medusa demons, Sha Teng, Wendy, and the White Sin Swamp Crocodile and run deeper into the territory. Voidless Shadow Fiend, stay here with me." Just as he finished speaking, he realized that the Class 2 White Sin armored crocodile that had been at his feet had suddenly vanished. Chapter 11:18. This made Lin Yuan feel a little strange. Where would the White Sin Swamp Crocodile go? However, the situation was urgent, and Lin Yuan couldn't care less. When the heaven-slaughtering butterfly heard Lin Yuan's arrangement, it immediately wanted to say something. However, when it saw Lin Yuan's resolute eyes, it could only grit its teeth and fling its waist-length blue hair. It listened to Lin Yuan's arrangement and led the creatures in the direction of the territory's interior. Lin Yuan, the Void Shadow Demon, and the Lu Yenshan were left alone, waiting for the arrival of the uninvited guest. As the energy collided, a shrill female howl came from the horizon. "Bai Yen, are you really going to kill him? In the Great Eastern Lake, only the two of us can fight against that old thing, Ghost Ing. The apostle that Ghost Ing is relying on has the Lord Ruler's protection." After the howl, the female voice didn't finish speaking. She let out another shrill howl. "Bai Yen, you actually hurt my tail. Even if I use the sacred body of origins and the holy art, don't think you'll have it easy." At that moment, Lin Yuan could already see a dark purple giant scorpion galloping over from the horizon. The giant scorpion armor was like a dark purple crystal. However, one of the 3 scorpion tails on its back was already broken, and it looked very pathetic. Behind the giant purple scorpion, there was a figure that was chasing it relentlessly, which startled Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan saw a giant white crocodile with a body length of at least 3,000 meters stirring the clouds in the horizon. The giant white crocodile was preparing a holy breath with a cold glint in its mouth. Lin Yuan couldn't help but swallow his saliva. This giant white crocodile and the Class 2 White Sin Swamp Crocodile were simply carved from the same mold. From the conversation between the giant white crocodile and the giant purple scorpion, this giant white crocodile had lost its son. this giant white crocodile's son wouldn't be a Class 2 white sin armored crocodile, right? If it really was a Class 2 white sin armored crocodile, then it would be fun. Lin Yuan couldn't imagine how the giant white crocodile would feel if it found out that he had captured its son and transformed it into an apostle. Was it because he couldn't restrain his anger and attacked him, or was he blaming him for capturing his son? Or would it express gratitude to him for promoting its son to an apostle at Class 2? In any case, the fact that he had transformed the Grade 2 white sin swamp crocodile into an apostle could no longer be concealed. Lin Yuan did not know where the Class 2 white sin swamp crocodile, which had transformed into an apostle, had gone. However, the white sin swamp crocodile was bound to appear soon. When the gigantic white crocodile saw the Grade 2 white sin swamp crocodile, it would expose its ability to transform dimensional creatures into apostles. If this type of ability was known by a powerful apostle, it was hard to guess what this apostle would do to him. Lin Yuan wasn't sure if the giant white crocodile would recognize him as its ruler like the Void Shadow Demon. If that was the case, then things would be much easier to handle. Lin Yuan had asked the Void Shadow Fiend about sovereigns before. However, most of the Void Shadow Fiend's understanding of sovereigns came from hearsay. Thus, the Void Shadow Devil was unable to give Lin Yuan a good feedback. However, based on the Void Shadow Demon's description of the ruler, Lin Yuan roughly understood the ruler's life grade in the dimensional world. The dimensional creatures of the dimensional world took pride in becoming an apostle's believer, while the apostles took pride in receiving the ruler's favor. It was clear that rulers were a great level higher than apostles. However, knowing the ruler's life grade did not help Lin Yuan in disguising himself as a ruler. This was because Lin Yuan simply didn't know what he needed to do to make himself look more like a ruler. At that moment, the swamp water moss-aged voice suddenly came from under Lin Yuan's feet. "My lord, the drinking venom snake vulture that attacked your territory previously is a believer of this stinky scorpion in front. This stinky scorpion occupies a large area in the northwest of the Great Eastern Swamp and is known as the Dark Scorpion Apostle." Lin Yuan's eyes lit up when he heard the swamp water moss words. It couldn't be better to be able to understand the enemy's information at this time. Lin Yuan immediately asked the swamp water moss, "Then do you know what level this Dark Scorpion Apostle's power of faith has reached?" Upon hearing Lin Yuan's question, the swamp water moss replied rather fearfully. As early as 2 years ago, this stinky scorpion's power of faith had already reached a lower than average level. The strength of an apostle's power of faith is the foundation of controlling a territory. In order to make the life forms in the territory more convinced, the apostles will often publicize the strength of their power of faith. Originally, the swamp water moss wholeheartedly wanted to become a believer of the Dark Scorpion Apostle, but the Dark Scorpion Apostle looked down on the swamp water moss, an inferior plant that could be seen everywhere in the swamp. Now, the swamp water moss had become Wendy's favored believer, and its body was marked with Wendy's triflower snake pupil totem. Naturally, it no longer had to look forward to becoming a believer of the Dark Scorpion Apostle. Thus, the swamp water moss no longer had the reverence it previously had for the Dark Scorpion Apostle. Instead, it had more resentment toward the Dark Scorpion Apostle. The swamp water moss had long spread its body all over the territory, and everything in the territory naturally couldn't escape its perception. The swamp water moss had personally seen Lin Yuan transform the Class 2 white sin swamp crocodile into an apostle. The dimensional life form beside Lin Yuan, which was incompatible with the swamp world's aura, had also personally called Lin Yuan a Lord Ruler. The combination of these two matters deeply shocked the swamp water moss. The swamp water moss had previously been puzzled as to why the two apostles, Wendy and Shiteng, would be so loyal to Lin Yuan, who didn't even reveal their auras. Now, all the puzzlement in the swamp water moss heart was easily resolved by the address, Lord Ruler. It turned out that Lin Yuan was a ruler who had stepped into the rebirth realm. When it thought of this, the swamp water moss that covered the entire territory couldn't help but tremble slightly. The trembling contained humility, reverence, joy, and worship. To be able to follow by the side of a ruler was an honor that the swamp water moss didn't even dare to imagine. This kind of honor was something that the vast majority of apostles didn't have. All apostles who enjoyed this kind of honor had an extraordinary status in the apostle community. The ghost firefly apostle wasn't the strongest in the Great Eastern Lakes territory. However, the ghost firefly apostle in the Great Eastern Lake always had the most authority. One of the reasons was because the ghost firefly apostle had a relationship with an apostle who was favored by a ruler. This kind of indirect relationship allowed the ghost firefly apostle to use a chicken feather as a token of authority and act like a tyrant in the Great Eastern Lake. The crisis before them had arrived, but the swamp water moss, who was certain of Lin Yuan's identity as a ruler, didn't panic at all. A ruler could use the power of faith to transform into a ruler's body that was filled with the power of faith. The ruler's body was the best proof of a ruler's identity. As long as Lin Yuan displayed the ruler's body that could prove his identity as a ruler, he didn't need to do anything else. Those apostles who weren't favored by a ruler would all fight to kneel at Lin Yuan's feet without exception. They hoped that Lin Yuan could look after them and bestow them with the ruler's treasure. Chapter 11:19. Zheng Kaiyuan's face, which was originally full of arrogance, was immediately filled with anger. Miao Ji flipped her hair and got into a fighting stance. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan snorted lightly. An old woman flirting with a young man. This Zheng family is really interesting. When he had first seen the Zheng family members waiting at the entrance of the extreme battle arena, Lin Yuan had thought that they were showing respect. They were waiting for Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan to arrive. However, when Lin Yuan saw Zheng Kaiyuan's expression change and was about to rush over, Zheng Kaiyuan's expression changed. Lin Yuan knew that the Zheng family wasn't waiting for Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, but for him. If the Zheng family was really waiting here for Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, the two emperor-level experts, they would all be killed. That way, Zheng Kaiyuan wouldn't put on a posture of finding fault with him after seeing him. Lin Yuan didn't intend to pay attention to the Zheng family, but when he got close to them, the woman beside Zheng Kaiyuan pulled Zheng Kaiyuan and took the initiative to block their path towards the polar arena. Lin Yuan saw that this woman's facial features were similar to Zheng Kaiyuan's. This woman should be Zheng Kaiyuan's mother, Miao Ji. Before Lin Yuan could ask Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan to make way, Miao Ji had already spoken. "Which one of you knocked my son's teeth out? When the blood oath extreme battle starts later, I'll show you." As soon as Miao Ji said that, Lu Jie had already activated his spiritual power. He was prepared to attack Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji, who were in front of Lin Yuan. There was a blood feud between the Zheng family and Sky City to begin with, and now the Zheng family was openly provoking them. According to the rules of the extreme arena, it was inconvenient to kill Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji before the blood oath extreme battle began. However, Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji had to pay a painful price. Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji knew that the road to Sky City was not so easy to block. Just as he was about to make a move, he felt Lin Yuan's hand on his wrist. Upon seeing that Lin Yuan had stopped him, Lu Jie stopped circulating his spiritual power. Lu Jie's movement of channeling spiritual power also made Sun Ningxiang, who was beside Lin Yuan, look at him. As a result, Sun Ningxiang immediately revealed a bewildered expression. Sun Ningxiang had been in contact with Lu Jie many times. It was just that Lu Jie had been wearing the Spirit Guard's standard mask the last few times he had met him. Since Sun Ningxiang couldn't see Lu Jie's face behind the mask, all she could remember was his temperament. Now that Lu Jie was wearing the identity mask of Sky City, his temperament completely overlapped with Sun Ningxiang's impression of the young palace lord of Yeang Palace. It could be said that their temperaments were carved from the same mold. Sun Ningxiang couldn't help but make a bold guess in her heart. Could the person circulating spiritual power beside Lin Yuan be the young palace lord of Yeang Palace, Lu Jie? Moreover, Sun Ningxiang felt that her conjecture was most likely correct. At that time, when someone had spoken rudely to Lin Yuan in the Yeang Palace, Lu Jie had also stood up like this. Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan also noticed Lu Jie's action of circulating his spiritual power. Upon seeing Lin Yuan stop Lu Jie, Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan subconsciously thought that he was afraid. Lin Yuan turned his head and said faintly, "That's right. There are so many people from the Zheng clan standing there. I guess the clan leader of the Zheng clan is here too?" I didn't expect that the one qualified to speak in the Zheng clan's blood oath arena would be a Miao family member from the Beast Creation Garden. Lin Yuan's words made the faces of the Zheng clan members darken. Zheng Ji looked at Miao Ji with obvious disgust. Lin Yuan's words could be said to have pierced Zheng Ji's heart. Upon seeing the Zheng clan members' faces darken, Lin Yuan continued to speak. The pole arena has its rules. Now, the two of you are blocking my way. I didn't kill you immediately because I didn't want to break the rules of the pole arena. Otherwise, the two of you would be dead now. However, the pole arena's rules also state that when someone is provoked and given a warning, the warned party will continue the provocation. The provoked party is free to retaliate as long as they don't kill the other party. Now, I'm giving you a warning. If you don't retreat now, you won't be able to retreat even if you want to. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's threat, Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan, who had come forward to cause trouble, naturally refused to retreat. Thus, Miao Ji looked at Zheng Ji, who was standing at the side with a sullen face. If there really was a conflict, only Zheng Ji could guarantee her and Zheng Kaiyuan's safety. At that moment, Miao Ji could not help but regret listening to Zheng Ji's opinion and not choosing to participate in the blood oath arena with the Miao family. If she were with the Miao family now, she would not feel perturbed after being threatened. Upon seeing Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan's pleading eyes, Zheng Ji had no choice but to channel his spiritual energy. While Zheng Ji was channeling his spiritual energy, a short and fat humanoid figure appeared in front of him. This short and fat humanoid figure's skin was very dark, but it was surprisingly good-looking. The short and fat humanoid figure's body was covered with a layer of thick brown armor, making it seem full of power. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan immediately used Morbius True Data to investigate the short and fat humanoid figure. He found that this short and fat black humanoid figure was a pinnacle suzerain X/Myth 3 Strength God Dung Beetle. The Strength God Dung Beetle was an insect species famous for its strength. However, in comparison, the Strength God Dung Beetle's strength was definitely not comparable to the slaughter worm of the same grade. In terms of bloodline, the Strength God Dung Beetle's bloodline was much inferior to the slaughter butterfly's bloodline. After looking at this Strength God Dung Beetle's true data, Lin Yuan felt that there was nothing special about it. If there was anything eye-catching, it was the Strength God Dung Beetle's exclusive skill, Strange Rebound, that it had obtained after becoming a myth breed, was worth mentioning. When attacked, as long as the force of the attack was lower than the Strength God Dung Beetle's strength, it would reflect the force back. If one did not know that this exclusive skill was likely to be used in a duel with the Strength God Dung Beetle, it would reflect a wave of force. Many people in the surroundings saw the conflict between Sky City and the Zheng family. The other factions had come to the Extreme Arena to watch the Blood Oath Arena's extreme battle between Sky City and the Zheng family to watch the excitement. Secondly, it was to see if the Zheng family had borrowed the Miao family's strength. Thirdly, it was to explore Sky City's background. This conflict was a good opportunity to spy on Sky City's background. Naturally, no one would want to miss it. Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan looked at the onlookers who had stopped to look at them and made their stance clear. Zheng Ji, who had just summoned the suzerain X-Power God Dung armor, said in a cold tone, "Endless Summer, I said that the two people blocking the way can't retreat even if they want to." Endless Summer smiled lightly when she heard this. "City Lord, I know what to do." End of chapter. Chapter 11:20. At this moment, the giant white crocodile was not in a hurry to use its origin holy body like the dark scorpion apostle. He arrogantly said to the dark scorpion apostle, "Woman, you're really stupid. Since I dared to kill you and decided to kill you, I naturally won't let both of us suffer. Also, you are thinking too much. If you lose, you will only die. I don't know the abilities of your sacred origin body, but that doesn't mean it can hurt me." Hearing the white giant crocodile's increasingly arrogant tone, the aura of the woman who was surrounded by the three-tailed amethyst scorpion suddenly rose another level. Immediately after, the power of faith poured into the three-tailed amethyst scorpion from the hole in the woman's neck like it was free. A layer of purplish-black crystalline light also appeared on the woman's three scorpion tails. As the power of faith was released, The woman poured all the energy in her body into the 3 scorpion tails. The aura of the 3 scorpion tails and the 3-tailed amethyst scorpion grew denser. Correspondingly, the woman's expression became more and more sluggish, as if she had been singing and dancing for 3 whole nights. The moment the energy in the woman's body was depleted, she swung her 3 scorpion tails at the giant white crocodile. The 3 scorpion tails grabbed at the 3 amethyst scorpions, circling around the woman like hands. The moment the ponytail caught the amethyst scorpion, the 3 ponytails suddenly turned ashen white. The 3-tailed amethyst scorpion's original purple color had also turned black. The 3-tailed amethyst scorpion, which had turned black, merged together in the air. It formed an illusory black scorpion that was 3 times larger than the original giant redbud scorpion. The ink-colored illusory scorpion shadow that seemed to carry some kind of ability crashed into the giant white crocodile. As soon as the nether scorpion apostle executed the origin's sacred body, the void shadow demon beside Lin Yuan released its aura. The void shadow devil's aura firmly enveloped the surrounding swamp and Lin Yuan's territory. In order to prevent the life forms in Lin Yuan's territory from being affected by the dark scorpion's apostle source holy body's aura, the void shadow demon's strength was displayed without reservation. The void shadow demon's aura naturally attracted the attention of the dark scorpion apostle and the giant white crocodile fighting in the sky. Of course, neither of them paid any attention to the void shadow demon. Although the aura of the void shadow fiend was very different from that of the swamp world, its aura carried a thick smell of sulfur, which was quite strange. However, the dark scorpion apostle and the giant white crocodile, who had reached level 12, clearly did not take the void shadow fiend's strength seriously. Moreover, the void shadow demon wasn't an apostle, not even a believer. This kind of strength was not even able to become a believer. In the dimensional world, it was almost equivalent to failure and tragedy. The giant white crocodile remained arrogant in the face of the dark scorpion apostle's attack, which had drained all of its power of faith and energy. He didn't even have the slightest intention of dodging the giant ink-colored scorpion that was charging towards him. Just as the ink-colored giant scorpion was about to collide with the giant white alligator, the dark scorpion apostle's face revealed a sinister and delighted smile. But before the dark scorpion apostle could smile, his smile froze on his face. The dark scorpion apostle saw the white crocodile, which was at least 3,000 meters long, glowing with a holy light. The amber power of faith caused the giant white crocodile's solid figure to become illusory, just like the giant purple scorpion. When the giant white crocodile's figure dissipated like a shadow, a white-haired, white-eyed, white-robed man appeared in midair. A valiant man with crocodile patterns on his robe appeared in midair. The totem of the giant white crocodile was slightly above his left eye. At this moment, a dark hole had appeared above the white-haired, white-eyed man's left eyebrow. The power of faith in the hole was hidden inside, and didn't release all of it like the dark scorpion apostle did. Seeing the ink-colored giant scorpion in front of him, the white-haired valiant man, who was using the sacred origin body, raised his palm in a confident manner. The totem that had been on the giant white crocodile's body suddenly materialized behind the white-haired valiant man. The giant crocodile's mouth formed from the totem carried an aura that could swallow mountains and rivers. It was as if it could swallow all things in the world into its mouth. As the dark scorpion apostle expected, when the ink-colored giant scorpion touched the white-haired valiant man, his holy art's disintegration ability would quickly cripple the white-haired valiant man's sacred origin body. But who would have thought that the moment the white-haired valiant man's crocodile mouth opened, the ink-colored giant scorpion's shadow in front of the white-haired valiant man's hand was directly pulled into countless strands of ink-colored energy, pouring into the white-haired valiant man's open mouth. He saw his full power attack with the holy art's power become the white-haired valiant man's delicious meal just like that. The dark scorpion apostle couldn't help but shout in shock. Impossible! The sacred origin body's holy art's power is absolute. You can't ignore the power of my sacred origin body's holy art. The white-haired valiant man revealed a disdainful smile when he heard this. This holy art's full of disintegration ability is really not bad, but you stupid thing, have you never thought that my holy art also has an ability that you can't even imagine?" After he finished speaking, the white-haired valiant man opened his mouth. A ball of holy white energy wrapped around the ink-colored giant scorpion's shadow that had just been swallowed by the man and fiercely slammed towards the shocked dark scorpion apostle. The white holy energy first hit the dark scorpion apostle's body, blowing up the dark scorpion apostle's apostle origin holy body armor. A portion of the holy energy drilled into the black hole on the dark scorpion apostle's neck. The black hole was like the entrance that the nether scorpion apostle used to connect with heaven and earth. The holy energy exploded within the dark scorpion apostle's body, causing purple blood to spurt out from his pores. The dark scorpion's apostle source holy body's defense was almost completely destroyed by the holy energy. Immediately after, the giant purple scorpion phantom wrapped around the dark scorpion apostle whose defense had been broken. Within the giant purple scorpion phantom, the dark scorpion's apostle origin holy body, which had exhausted all of its strength, quickly melted like snow in the face of the afternoon sun. A moment later, only an amber totem with a three-tailed scorpion remained where the nether scorpion apostle was. Seeing this, Bai Yen waved his hand towards the totem left behind in the world by the dark scorpion apostle with satisfaction. The large amount of faith power within the dark scorpion apostle totem was stripped away by Bai Yen. It fused into the giant crocodile's mouth that was formed by the totem behind Bai Yen. But after devouring the apostle totem that had lower than average faith power, Bai Yan's faith power did not increase much. Apostles plundering each other's totem's faith power should be similar to myth-breed fays plundering each other's world grace. Even if the plundering was successful, the gains would be pitifully small. Immediately after, a scene that caused Lin Yuan's eyes to widen occurred. Lin Yuan saw that the totem that had been stripped of its faith power was actually wrapped in a layer of rainbow light. When he saw the rainbow light formed by the totem, Lin Yuan slapped his thigh. Isn't this what an uncontracted sacred source life form looks like? End of this chapter. Chapter 1121. Previously, Zhou Luo only felt that it was very exciting to participate in the Blood Oath Extreme Battle while ensuring his safety. But when the Blood Oath Extreme Battle was about to begin, Zhou Luo realized that he was merely a King Stage expert. As for a King Stage expert like him, he had to face an Emperor Stage expert in the Extreme Arena and fight it out with him. This made Zhou Luo's heart beat violently. It even made Zhou Luo feel a suffocating sense of nervousness. At that moment, Zhou Luo saw a thin figure wearing Sky City's uniform and mask walk out of Lin Yuan's shadow. At Lin Yuan's signal, the thin figure scuttled into his shadow. Zhou Luo, who had a living person crawling into his shadow, did not feel anything strange at all. This surprised Zhou Luo greatly. Upon seeing Zhou Luo's nervous expression, Lin Yuan spoke. "Zhou Luo, his strength has reached the peak of the Overlord level. When it's time for the duel, you can do whatever you want. With him around, your safety can be guaranteed." Previously, Lin Yuan had not told Zhou Luo about the Void Shadow Demon's true strength. Now that Lin Yuan had revealed the Void Shadow Demon's true strength, it was undoubtedly a powerful reassurance to Zhou Luo. Zhou Luo no longer had to worry about his safety. Zhou Luo's heart was completely at ease when he heard about the Void Shadow Demon's strength. Zhou Luo thought to himself, "The acting skills I learned from Fei Qianxiong can finally be put to use." At that moment, Lin Yuan's lounge suddenly echoed with impassioned drumbeats. Upon hearing this drumbeat, Lin Yuan led everyone out of the lounge that the Polar Arena had specially arranged for Sky City. When Lin Yuan exited the lounge, he saw that the Extreme Arena's spectator stands were surrounded by hundreds of totem pillars. There were many members from various factions seated there. There were also many Star Web reporters among them. More than half of the seats in the arena were filled. On the opposite side of the arena was the Zheng family. At this moment, Sun Ningxiang, who was sitting in the public area, looked at the group of people from the Miao family who had come to the Extreme Arena. At first glance, Sun Ningxiang's brows furrowed tightly. This was because Sun Ningxiang had discovered that the only core members of the Miao family who had come to watch the Blood Oath Extreme Duel were Miao He, Han Tianhe, and Lu Yenshan. The others were the collateral relatives of the Miao family. It was obvious that they had followed Miao He to watch the show. Sun Ningxiang stared at Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, who were both expressionless. Sun Ningxiang was too familiar with these two people. As the left and right arms of the Miao family's patriarch, Miao Zhinshan, neither of them liked to join in on the fun. The more Sun Ningxiang thought about it, the more she felt it was strange that someone who didn't like to join in the fun had appeared in such a lively environment. Suddenly, Sun Ningxiang's pupils shrank. Could it be that Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were here to help the Zheng family in the blood oath battle? Sun Ningxiang forced herself to calm down when she recalled that Lin Yuan had told her that everything was ready. Lin Yuan was the Moon Empress disciple. Even if Sky City lost the blood oath extreme duel, the Moon Empress would not be able to defeat him. As long as Lin Yuan revealed his identity, the Zheng family wouldn't dare to do anything to him. However, revealing his identity after losing the blood oath battle would be a huge stain on his record. He had obtained the Radiant Light Medal and was going to compete for the Radiance Envoy position. This stain would definitely affect Lin Yuan's status as a Radiance Envoy. Sun Ningxiang, who treated Lin Yuan as a friend, naturally didn't want this to happen. Miao He was sitting in the public area and yawning disinterestedly. Miao He, who had planned to have a meal with his friends, was forcibly arranged by his grandfather. Miao He had seen Zheng Kaiyuan's performance in the Miao family, so he was getting more and more annoyed with him, especially when Zheng Kaiyuan had cheated him in front of the Moon Empress disciple. Miao He knew that Zheng Kaiyuan was useful to the Miao family now, so even if he became the Miao family's young master, he couldn't openly suppress Zheng Kaiyuan. Miao He didn't want to be in the same space as Zheng Kaiyuan. He didn't want to see the Zheng family destroy Sky City with the Miao family's help. At that moment, a collateral relative beside Miao He bowed and said, "Young Master He, do you think Zheng Kaiyuan's legs are gone?" "Young Master Crane, do you think Zheng Kaiyuan's legs are gone? Why is he being carried by someone?" Upon hearing that, Miao He immediately became interested and quickly looked in the direction of the Zheng family. With one look, Miao He looked up at the sky in disbelief. Then he looked at Zheng Kaiyuan again. Miao He didn't expect Zheng Kaiyuan's legs to be gone. Upon seeing this scene, Miao He immediately revealed a relieved smile. When he had just arrived, he had heard that the Zheng family had taken the initiative to find trouble with Sky City at the entrance of the Extreme Battle Arena and had a conflict with Sky City. Zheng Kaiyuan's legs couldn't have been broken in the conflict, right? Miao He didn't care about Zheng Kaiyuan's broken legs at all. Anyway, the Miao family wanted Zheng Kaiyuan's relationship with the Moon Empress disciple. It was fine as long as Zheng Kaiyuan could speak. When Zheng Kaiyuan brought him to visit Lord Lin Yuan found out that Zheng Kaiyuan's legs were broken. Would Lord Lin Yuan be willing to maintain a friendship with the short-legged Zheng Kaiyuan? At that time, Miao He could express his goodwill to Lord Lin Yuan and talk to him. Who else in the Miao family would care about Zheng Kaiyuan's life? Thinking about the way his grandfather, Miao Zhinshan, looked at Zheng Kaiyuan, Miao He felt that if Zheng Kaiyuan was really useless. The first person who couldn't tolerate Zheng Kaiyuan was his grandfather, Miao Zhinshan. At that moment, an old man wearing a purple robe walked to the center of the Extreme Battle Arena. When the old man stood still in the center, the entire Extreme Battle Arena was once again filled with impassioned drumbeats. The drumbeats were like thunder, and it made everyone's blood boil. The moment the thunderous drumbeats stopped, the purple-robed old man said loudly, "Time is up. I am Gu Han, the person in charge of the Extreme Battle Arena. I hereby announce the official start of the Blood Oath Extreme Battle between Sky City and the veteran Zheng family. Members of both factions, stay in your original positions. The 3 experts participating in the Blood Oath Extreme Battle will now come to me." Gu Han's voice had just sounded, but before Zheng Ji could step forward, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, who were sitting in the public area, circulated their spiritual power and flew up. They landed in front of Gu Han. Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's sudden actions caused the entire Extreme Battle Arena to be in an uproar. As long as the members of the younger generation weren't here to watch the show, most of them would recognize Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan. Before coming here, everyone had guessed that the Miao family would help the Zheng family. Who would have thought that the Miao family would actually send out their 2 veteran emperor-class experts? Two veteran Emperor-class experts from the Miao family participating in the battle made everyone present have a question in their minds. Did this blood oath extreme battle belong to the Zheng family and Sky City or the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden and Sky City? Chapter 11:22. Han Tianhe's strength might not be enough to represent the Miao family in the blood oath extreme fight. However, with Lu Yenshan's special fei, he was qualified to represent the Miao family in the blood oath extreme fight. Such an expert was publicly sent to help other factions in the blood oath extreme fight. What was the Miao family trying to do? It was no longer a secret that Miao Zhua and Miao Qi had been chased out of the Nix conference. Those factions that were not on good terms with the Miao family were very willing to release this information. Now, even some rising factions that were not presentable had heard of the Miao family's scandal at the Nix conference and were waiting to see the drama. Logically speaking, the Miao family should choose to protect themselves at such a time. However, the Miao family had made such a big move. Putting everything else aside, just the fact that the Miao family had sent two Emperor-class experts to help the Zheng family in the blood oath extreme fight was too much. Emperor-class experts had obviously exceeded the scope of the veteran faction's martial power. In fact, it was not like there had not been similar situations in the past. Li Yun Avian Can had risen very quickly and had been expanding the flying-type Fei market. The market was only so big, and as Li Yun Avian Can continued to expand the market, it naturally touched the cake of other factions. Not long after Li Yun Avian Can had become a veteran faction that was only one step away from the Pinnacle faction was greatly offended by Li Yun Avian Can's unbridled expansion. This veteran faction that was only one step away from the Pinnacle faction realized that Li Yun Avian Can's top expert strength was not proportional to the faction's development in business. This faction simply chose to have the blood oath extreme fight with Li Yun Avian Can and wanted to completely annex Li Yun Avian Can's expanded business after the blood oath extreme fight. They would then take another step forward and break through the gap to become a Pinnacle faction. However, that faction that was only one step away from the Pinnacle faction did not expect Li Yun Avian Can to have the support of the Pinnacle faction, Coiling Dragon Valley. At that time, Coiling Dragon Valley had only lent Li Yun Avian Can, a newly promoted Emperor-class expert. In the end, Li Yun Avian Can won the blood oath extreme fight with the help of the Emperor-class expert assigned by Coiling Dragon Valley. After this incident, Li Yun Avian Can was saved and annexed the resources of the faction that was only one step away from the Pinnacle faction. This allowed Li Yun Yao Can to charge into the ranks of the top forces in just a few years after becoming a veteran force. However, the act of assigning an Emperor-level powerhouse to help a veteran faction, the Blood Oath battle, had a significant impact on Coiling Dragon Valley's reputation. Until many years later, as the public opinion of other forces continued to ferment, the dark history of the Coiling Dragon Valley was slowly forgotten. However, people would still occasionally bring it up. Among them, the Beast Creation Garden was the one that used this dark history to smear the reputation of the Coiled Dragon Valley the most. But now, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden was many times more overboard than Coiled Dragon Valley. Many top powers that had wavered in their cooperation with the Beast Creation Garden because of the commotion at the Nix conference had sent people over to watch the Blood Oath battle. When they saw Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan standing beside Gu Han, the spectators from the top forces frowned. The Hearthstone Du clan member couldn't help but curse. The table manners of the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden are too unsightly. Was it because the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden had a feud with Sky City because of the cooperation between Sky City and Du Immortal Garden? Or was it because the Miao family coveted the high-class creation master resources of Sky City? If that was the case, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden could totally initiate the Blood Oath battle with Sky City. As a top faction, it was a little bad for the Miao family to publicly request for a Blood Oath battle with the newly established Sky City. However, sending two veteran Emperor-level experts to use the Zheng family to get rid of Sky City was a little too despicable. Gu Han had already seen the list of members from both sides of the Blood Oath battle. Therefore, Gu Han wasn't surprised that Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan would help the Zheng family with the Blood Oath battle. However, when she thought of the people sent by Sky City, Gu Han couldn't help but look at Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan with a playful gaze. Zheng Ji also braced himself and walked to the center of the extreme arena. Zheng Ji wanted to stand beside Gu Han as the Zheng family's representative, but Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan occupied the position in front of him without any intention of giving up their position to Zheng Ji. As the head of the Zheng family, Zheng Ji could only stand behind Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan with a livid expression. On the other side of the extreme arena, Lin Yuan nodded at Zhou Luo and Endless Summer. Zhou Luo and Endless Summer, who were wearing the sky blue cloud attire, walked toward Gu Han's side under Lin Yuan's instructions. Upon seeing that Sky City had only sent 2 people to the center of the extreme arena, the crowd suddenly burst into a frenzy of discussion. Damn! Could it be that Sky City's 3rd participant of the Blood Oath duel had deserted? Why are there only 2 people heading to the center of the extreme arena? It's not strange for them to flee. If it were me, I would be afraid too. I'm sure Sky City's city lord is scared out of his wits. He accepted the Blood Oath battle from a veteran faction, but who would have thought that the enemy would be at the level of a top faction? Have you heard of the Beast Creation Garden's Lu Yenshan? The main Fae, the Ghost Sky Beast, is said to be the strongest spiritual type Fae of the same grade. It is said that the target that the Ghost Sky Beast looks at will fall into endless fear. In fact, under extreme fear, the target will even have the emotion of submitting to the Ghost Sky Beast out of fear. From what I see, Sky City is gone. Damn it! How am I going to snatch the fate letter without Sky City? Goddamn Beast Creation Garden. Goddamn Zheng family. When I go back today, I'm going to write a 500,000-word essay on StarWeb to scold the Zheng and Miao families. Endless Summer and Zhou Luo heard the clamor from the audience seats. Endless Summer thought that Zhou Luo would be nervous. Endless Summer immediately wanted to use her aura to cover Zhou Luo and reduce his nervousness. Unexpectedly, Zhou Luo wasn't nervous at all. Instead, he straightened his back and walked forward in high spirits. At that moment, Zhou Luo didn't seem to be just a king-class expert. Zhou Luo, who was walking forward, had the aura of a pinnacle emperor-class expert with every step. Endless Summer turned to look at Zhou Luo's eyes through his mask and realized that he was looking at Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe with eyes full of contempt. It was as though he was looking at 2 ants and trash. As for Zheng Ji, who was standing behind Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe, Zhou Luo didn't even bother with him. Endless Summer suddenly recalled that Zhou Luo had just said to Lin Yuan, "Act well." Endless Summer, who had been staying in the Spirit Heron Chamber of Commerce, suddenly recalled that Zhou Luo had been fooling around with Fei Qianqiong in the middle of the night. Could he have learned his acting skills at that time? Chapter 11:23. Seeing the aura in Zhou Luo's eyes, Endless Summer felt that Zhou Luo's acting skills were much better than Fei Qianqiong's. Gu Han asked when she saw Endless Summer and Zhou Luo walk in front of her. "Is everyone from Sky City here?" Endless Summer did not speak. Since Zhou Luo wanted to show off his acting skills, Zhou Luo would answer the questions of the person in charge of the arena. At this moment, Zhou Luo spoke calmly. That one word was filled with 3 parts coldness, 3 parts cynicism, and 4 parts indifference. Gu Han was stunned for a moment when she heard Zhou Luo's snort. After making sure that Zhou Luo did not continue, Gu Han pouted in pain. She was the person in charge of the arena. Did he have to be so cold to her? Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan had already arrived before Zhou Luo. They saw Zhou Luo's eyes through the mask. They were stunned when they saw Zhou Luo's eyes. They could see deep disdain in Zhou Luo's eyes. This disdain made Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's hearts tremble. They subconsciously circulated the spirit energy in their bodies to sense Zhou Luo's strength. In the end, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan only felt that they had been teased and insulted. Wasn't he just a small king-class expert? Why was he pretending to be powerful here? Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan did not like crowds. They helped the Zheng family with the Blood Oath duel to carry out Miao Zhinshan's orders. They knew that the Miao family helping the Zheng family with the Blood Oath duel would cause great damage to the Miao family's reputation. Therefore, they did not want to come to the arena. Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were both hot-tempered. Lu Yenshan, in particular, was so hot-tempered that he could not even light a fire. The anger that was born from being teased by Zhou Luo immediately turned into a burning rage after Zhou Luo replied with a Lu Yenshan said angrily, "Lady Guhan, I would like to request to change the Blood Oath Duel's fighting style. The original one-on-one beast cage battle has been changed to a group battle. This way, the battle can end faster." There were two ways to fight in the Blood Oath Duel. Under normal circumstances, it would be a one-on-one beast cage duel. The one-on-one fierce beast cage duel required both sides to send out one expert each. After one expert was killed, another expert would immediately replace him. After killing an enemy expert, the winner could choose whether to continue the battle or send another expert from his faction to compete based on the strength of the new enemy expert. This kind of one-on-one beast cage extreme battle was the tacit way of the Blood Oath Extreme Battle. Without any special requests from either side, the Blood Oath Extreme Battle would be carried out in a one-on-one beast cage format. However, the Blood Oath Extreme Battle still had another way of fighting, which was a group fight. This way, the members of both sides would go up on stage and fight freely. Group battles weren't commonly used, and very few forces would take the initiative to bring it up during the Blood Oath Extreme Battle. Firstly, it was because a group fight might cause the phase of the two enemy experts to form a link and enhance each other. Secondly, it was easy to lose health in a group battle. It was not as easy to control as a one-on-one beast cage match. When Gu Han heard Lu Yenshan's request, she turned to look at Zhou Luo and Endless Summer. If the Blood Oath Extreme Battle wanted to change the established duel to a group battle, it required both factions' approval. The moment Gu Han turned to look at Endless Summer and Zhou Luo, Zheng Ji, who was standing behind Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, knew that he had been completely ignored by Gu Han. When Gu Han heard Lu Yenshan's suggestion to change the duel format, she didn't even ask if the Zheng family had agreed to it. The Zheng family's Blood Oath Extreme Battle made the Zheng family head seem like an outsider. Endless Summer didn't say anything and decided to let Zhou Luo answer. Zhou Luo snorted and said indifferently as he flung his sleeves, "Our Sky City doesn't care about such insignificant matters. It doesn't matter how we fight as the outcome will be the same anyway. Only the weak will care about the duel format. For the strong, no matter how they fight, it doesn't matter." Before Zhou Luo could finish speaking, Endless Summer heard the sound of grinding teeth coming from the opposite side. Endless Summer looked over and noticed that Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe were looking at Zhou Luo with eyes spewing fire. The sound of teeth grinding came from Lu Yenshan's mouth. Endless Summer thought to herself when she heard the sound of teeth grinding, "How angry is Lu Yenshan?" But to be honest, Lu Yenshan's teeth are not bad. Most people with bad teeth wouldn't be able to make such a loud noise. Actually, it made sense. Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe were two veteran emperor-class experts and lived like princes in the Miao family. They were fawned upon and flattered everywhere they went. Now that Zhou Luo, who had king-class strength, called them weaklings in such a domineering tone, it would be strange if Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe could take it. Gu Han's eyebrows twitched because Zhou Luo didn't clearly indicate whether he accepted Lu Yenshan's suggestion or not. Change the one-on-one beast cage duel to a group duel. Gu Han asked again helplessly. Does Sky City agree to change the duel format to a group duel? Endless Summer saw that Zhou Luo was about to speak again and hurriedly interrupted. Our Sky City agrees to the group duel format. Endless Summer didn't want to waste any more time here. The reason was simple. Endless Summer felt that one or two sentences were enough and should know when to stop. Too much wrangling would make Sky City seem frivolous. On the other hand, Endless Summer just looked at the time and found that the TV series she had been watching was going to start in less than an hour. Endless Summer wanted to quickly end the Blood Oath duel with the Zheng family before the TV series started and then return to the manor to see if the adulterous couple was still together. After receiving Endless Summer's reply, Gu Han waved her hand and said loudly, "The Blood Oath duel between Sky City and the Miao family, with the Zheng family, will be changed to a group duel. Everyone, use your blood to protect the glory of your forces." After Gu Han said this, the duel officially began. At this moment, many people in the audience had their eyes on Zhou Luo. Almost everyone present thought that Sky City had given up hope by sending 2 experts to the Blood Oath duel. Zhou Luo's performance just now was also interpreted as a display of Sky City's backbone at the last moment. Many hot-blooded people present couldn't help but be moved by Zhou Luo's actions. There were even some hot-blooded youngsters who suddenly became Zhou Luo's fans. From their elders, these hot-blooded youngsters all knew that Zhou Luo was only a king-class expert. End of this chapter. Chapter 11:24. The younger generation did not expect that when a king-class expert puffed out his chest and burst out with courage and exuberant willpower, he actually dared to go against a veteran emperor-class expert and even look down on him. This was too cool. How could there be such an exceptional man in the world? After confirming that the duel would be the Blood Oath Extreme Duel, Zheng Ji's heart was filled with bitterness. Zheng Ji's main Fei, the power god Dung Beetle, had just been injured and had yet to recover. Moreover, it was very likely that he would be ambushed by Endless Summer during the group fight. If an Emperor-class expert disregarded everything and detonated the nomological world, even if it was in front of 2 veteran Emperor-class experts, Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe, it was not impossible. It was possible to trade 1 for 1. Therefore, Zheng Ji could only retreat as soon as the duel started. He then summoned the injured power god Dung Beetle to protect in front of him. In the eyes of the audience, they only felt that this scene was extremely ironic. Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe were both holding back their anger. They didn't conceal it and summoned their Feis. In an instant, a humongous, vertical carapace the size of a small mountain appeared in front of Han Tianhe. When the humongous, vertical carapace appeared, it would occasionally squirm as though there was a creature hiding in this carapace. It was unknown how many years the humongous carapace had not been taken care of. Just the dust that had accumulated on it actually had many old trees and flowers growing on it. Suddenly, the humongous carapace trembled. Lin Yuan saw a body covered in brownish-red mucus emerge from the humongous carapace. The mucus looked very viscous, and when the mucus on the body pulled against each other, it emitted a sticky and ear-piercing sound. This sticky sound was extremely disgusting to listen to. At the same time, a lava-like world power surged out of the humongous mollusk life form. The vigorous world power rampaged in the extreme battle arena. A wave of heat rose in the extreme battle arena as though there was a volcano that was about to erupt in the middle. A terrifying humanoid life form appeared beside Han Tianhe. This humanoid life form's skin was ash-gray and ghastly. The huge eye sockets had no eyelids, and the entire gray and ferocious pupils were stained with black and red blood. His blood-stained gray eyes made people feel a sense of suffocation and panic at first glance. The humanoid creature also had 5 hands on its body, one of which was grabbing its neck. The hand that was squeezing his neck had shrunk so badly that it looked like an ornament. However, this decorative finger had pierced the skin on his neck. Not only did the strange humanoid creature bleed from its eyes, but even its neck was also gushing with dark red blood. The other 4 arms on the humanoid creature's body were twisted in a strange way, like 4 ribbons hanging from its body. However, these 4 ribbons did not look elegant at all. This was because the movements of the 4 arms were extremely stiff as they fluttered in the wind, as if the bones in the arms had been replaced with rusted machinery. He didn't know how much black and red blood this humanoid creature had. The blood that flowed out from its eye sockets and neck dyed the entire body of the humanoid creature in an instant. Every drop of black and red blood that dripped from the humanoid creature's body to the ground would set off a black fog. It was as if there was something hidden in the black fog that people were most afraid of so far. The fear seemed to be able to reach the depths of people's minds, allowing them to see the thing that they were most afraid of but didn't dare to face. The moment Lu Yenshan summoned this strange life form, many of the audience members suddenly thought of the most terrifying thing hidden in their hearts. Then, this strange humanoid creature let out a strange laugh. This laughter was like a hen's scream when its neck was being grabbed. Accompanied by the strange laughter, it was as if a world of fear had quietly descended on the pole arena. This feeling of fear caused the weak-willed experts in the spectator stands to scream in agony. Even the strong-willed experts' foreheads were faintly oozing cold sweat. Lin Yuan had the protection of the princess dress and the dark death world, so he wouldn't be affected by the world power emitted by Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's phase. Based on the two types of world powers he sensed, he knew that both Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan had summoned their creation breed phase immediately. With Endless Summer, who had an Emperor-class combat power, summoning an Emperor-class Fei would likely cause unnecessary casualties. Lin Yuan felt the aura emitted by Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's phase. He immediately used Morbius ability, True Data, to carefully examine the phase that Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan had summoned. Fei name: Geocentric Dragon Snail, Fei species, Gastropod/agate snail, Fei grade, Monarch, 5 out of 10, Fei type, Earth/Fire, Fei quality, 4th calamity of creation. Fei name: Ghost Sky Centipede, Fei species, Toothed Beast/Ancient Beast, Fei grade, Monarch, 6 out of 10, Fei type, Spiritual, Fei quality, 5th calamity of creation. At a glance, Lin Yuan knew that Han Tianhe's main Fei was called the Geocentric Dragon Snail. It was a Fire-Earth dual elemental Fei at class 5 4th calamity of creation. When he saw the name Geocentric Dragon Snail, Lin Yuan raised his brows and revealed a look of understanding. Under normal circumstances, when a Fei reached Myth 2, it would appear in human form. However, the Geocentric Dragon Snail was an anomaly. It wasn't that the Geocentric Dragon Snail didn't have the ability to transform into human form. It was just that Feis like the Geocentric Dragon Snail were extremely lazy and usually slept soundly in its carapace. The extremely lazy Geocentric Dragon Snail felt that transforming into human form was a strenuous task. Unless it had no choice or was commanded by its contractor, the Geocentric Dragon Snail wouldn't even move. Despite being lazy, Han Tianhe's main Fei, the Geocentric Dragon Snail, was very outstanding in terms of abilities and exclusive skills. It was obvious that Han Tianhe had spent a huge amount of resources on this Geocentric Dragon Snail and nurtured it with great care. The exclusive skill, Lava Domain, that the Geocentric Dragon Snail had obtained after becoming a creation seed, could be used with other abilities and exclusive skills. In an instant, it could turn a 1,000-mile radius into a land of boiling lava. In a land of boiling lava, all life forms would be instantly burned into ashes. At the same time, the Geocentric Dragon Snail had the ability to change the terrain. Such an ability could be used as an effective defensive or control method in combat. It could even split the battlefield to a certain extent, and it was considered an ability with strategic significance in a team battle. End of this chapter. Chapter 11:25. Of course, even if the Earth Core Dragon Snail used its full strength in the extreme arena, its ability range wouldn't exceed the audience seats. No one knew why the range of an Emperor-class phase ability would be restricted in the arena. It was the same situation in the Radiance Federation's various extreme arenas. Such a situation could ensure the safety of the audience seats, and it was also the mystery of the extreme arena. As compared to Han Tianhe's Earth Core Dragon Snail, Lu Yenshan's Ghost Sky Beast's abilities and exclusive skill combination were more exciting. Lin Yuan had checked Lu Yenshan's character journal and had some doubts about the evaluation of Lu Yenshan's Ghost Sky Beast. He didn't understand why Lu Yenshan's Ghost Sky Beast was known as the strongest spirit-type Fei of the same grade. After seeing the Ghost Sky Beast's true data, Lin Yuan finally understood. It was because the Ghost Sky Beast played with fear to the extreme. It could even use fear to PUA other Feis and control them. At the same time, Lin Yuan also knew why the Ghost Sky Beast had such a terrifying appearance. The Ghost Sky Beast in true data was a fanged beast, which was an ancient beast Fei. Since prehistoric times, dragon beasts had never stopped fighting for supremacy. A beast species Fei with an ancient beast bloodline was as noble as a dragon species Fei with a main dragon species bloodline. In terms of quantity, there were much fewer beast species Feis with ancient beast bloodlines than with dragon species Feis with main dragon species bloodlines. According to the species, the Ghost Sky Beast's current appearance was definitely not its original body. The world cleansing and the calamity of creation would constantly temper the Fei's body. Therefore, when a fae transformed into a human form, it wouldn't have such a strange appearance. The ghost sky centipede beast had an exclusive skill called Timid Body, which allowed it to change its body form. After changing its body form, it could enhance the effect of the fear-type spiritual ability. It could also solidify its spiritual energy on the surface of its body to enhance its physical defense. The body of pain might be amazing, but it wasn't outstanding compared to the ghost sky beast's other abilities and exclusive skills. Among them, the ghost sky beast's most noteworthy ability was called Throat Grip. The ghost sky beast's black-red blood made the target fall into fear and would also curse the target. The fifth hand on the ghost sky beast's body would break its neck every once in a while. When the ghost sky centipede beast's neck is broken by the fifth hand, the cursed target's spiritual world will be crushed. The throat-gripping seal skill relied on mental power. As a spiritual-type fae, the ghost sky owl beast's spiritual energy was usually higher than faes that were 1 or 2 grades higher. Therefore, the ghost sky beast could rely on its throat grasp technique to challenge those of a higher rank. At that moment, Lin Yuan was filled with joy. Lin Yuan coveted the Earth Core Dragon's Nail and the Ghost Sky Nightmare Beast. The stronger the geocentric Dragon's Nail and Ghost Sky Centipede were, the happier Lin Yuan would be. In his opinion, be it the geocentric Dragon's Nail or the Ghost Sky Centipede, they would soon become a part of his 2 Emperor-class humanoid weapons. Although the Ghost Sky Owl Beast's spiritual attack that used fear was very powerful, Lin Yuan wasn't worried at all. The Void Shadow Fiends born in the Abyss world had been accompanied by endless slaughter since birth. Putting aside the fact that the Void Shadow Fiend's strength was a few grades higher than the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast and could instantly kill it. Even if the Void Shadow Fiend's heart was tempered in the Abyss world, it would be hard for it to feel fear. The Void Shadow Fiend, which was very indifferent to fear, was very effective against the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast. After summoning the Fae, Han Tianhe flew and landed on the geocentric Dragonsnail's body. Immediately after, Han Tianhe plucked a fruit from the fruit tree on the geocentric Dragonsnail's back and took a bite, looking very carefree and satisfied. Han Tianhe looked at Endless Summer and Zhou Luo as though he was looking at 2 dead men. Lu Yenshan looked down at Zhou Luo and said with a cold tone, "You people from Sky City are rather eloquent. It's a pity that in the face of absolute strength, the most powerless thing is to speak." At that moment, everyone's eyes were staring at the geocentric Dragon's Nail and the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast. Most of the audience members were from the Rising factions and Veteran factions. The Rising factions and Veteran factions wouldn't even have the qualifications to come into contact with Creation Breed phase. Many of them were seeing the true appearance of the Creation Breed phase for the first time today. After a short period of silence, the sound of people taking pictures could be heard from time to time. The Star Web reporters were frantically taking photos of the geocentric Dragon's Nail and the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast. The photos of the geocentric Dragon's Nail and the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast were simply treasures to the Star Web reporters. With the photos of the geocentric Dragon's Nail and the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast, they would be able to earn a huge sum of money in today's press release. As the shutter sounds continued to ring, the audience in the stands suddenly burst into a noisy discussion after they came back to their senses. Fuck, this is a Creation Breed Fae? A Creation Breed Fae was simply too cool. I'm terrified and feeling like I'm about to be burned to ashes. Sky City is completely finished. Who can withstand 2 Creation Breed Faes? I just want to know what kind of explanation the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden will give after this Blood Oath Extreme duel to explain the fact that they helped the Zheng family provide 2 Emperor-class experts. I'm going home today to eat roasted snails and charcoal roasted snails. The idol I just acknowledged is going to die. There were people in the audience who liked Zhou Luo and stood on Sky City's side. Naturally, there were also people who couldn't stand Zhou Luo and Sky City and stood on the Zheng and Miao family's side. The people from Sky City were so arrogant just now, but they were just crazy before they died. What's the use of just talking? I don't believe that the people from Sky City can still boast shamelessly when they see 2 Creation Breed Faes. The person who spoke was an old man who looked over 50 years old. However, as soon as the old man finished speaking, An awkward expression immediately appeared on his face. The old man heard Zhou Luo's voice coming from the extreme duel arena again. "You're right. It seems like you're also a reasonable person. Since you're reasonable, you should know that the words of a person with absolute power also have absolute weight." Lu Yenshan didn't expect Zhou Luo to still dare to be stubborn. He immediately ordered, "Nightmare Ghost, start a massacre." When the ghost sky beast heard Lu Yenshan's command, its body immediately emitted a large amount of black-red blood mist. At that moment, everyone saw Zhou Luo raise his finger and point at Lu Yenshan and the ghost sky beast. Then, he pointed at Han Tianhe and the geocentric dragon snail, who were watching the show from the side. "I said, it's time for you to die." The audience didn't have time to react to Zhou Luo's words. However, Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe's faces instantly turned pale. End of this chapter. Chapter 1127. As Emperor-class experts, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were able to capture the moving shadows because Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were both in the spirit return state. They used their strongest defensive means. This caused the shadow to slow down when it split Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, the dragon's nail, and the ghost sky beast bodies. Those who were sent by the top factions to watch the battle were all smart people. They already knew that Sky City's third participant of the Blood Oath Extreme Battle had already entered the battlefield, but no one had discovered it. This also explained why Sky City would send a king-class expert to participate in the Blood Oath Extreme Battle, which concerned the survival of a faction. Sky City's killer move had actually been prepared long ago. On the surface, the two participants of the Blood Oath Extreme Battle were just a foil to the moving shadow. They looked at Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, and their contracted dragon's nail and ghost sky beast, who had been split into two in a pool of blood. While these members of the top factions were gloating, they were also re-evaluating Sky City's combat power. However, under their scrutiny, they realized that Sky City's combat power could not be accurately estimated. This was because they did not even know what had just attacked. Naturally, they could not clearly determine its strength. It was able to instantly kill two of the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden's veteran Emperor-class experts. Especially when one of the two veteran Emperor-class experts' phase had reached Monarch rank level 5 and 4th Tribulation of Creation. The other was a 5th Disaster of Creation at Monarch level 6. In order to do this, Sky City's third participant had to be at least a peak Emperor-class expert. He might even have seen the power of immortals. At this moment, the audience had already erupted into a heated discussion. Most of the audience present were not like the Emperor-class experts of the top factions who could see the moving shadow. In the eyes of everyone present, it was Zhou Luo who said, "You all deserve to die." Immediately after, Lu Yenshan, Han Tianhe, and their contracted phase were split into two. Zhou Luo's words killed two emperors. He was like a god. The fans who had just become Zhou Luo's fans cheered on the spot. "Oh my god! What is going on?" Two veteran Emperor-class experts from the Beast Creation Garden died with just a word from my idol? I'm not dreaming. What the hell? My heart is weak, and you're showing me this? What kind of divine reversal is this? Didn't they just say that he was a king? How could a king stage expert kill two emperor stage experts? I'm happy. It seems like I can continue to go to Sky City's Star Web private faction territory to queue for the fate letter tomorrow. Awesome. Look at the expression on the Zheng family's patriarch Zhengji's face. His eyeballs are about to pop out. You look like you've drunk 3 cups of oil from Big Sister Hua. Sun Ningxiang and Miao He had different reactions from the rest of the audience. Although Sun Ningxiang was worried, she knew that Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were not burdened by Lin Yuan's calmness. However, Lin Yuan's means had indeed shocked Sun Ningxiang. On the other hand, Miao He had already picked up his phone with a trembling body and dialed his grandfather Miao Zhenshan's number. As the current young master of the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, Miao He had to inform his grandfather about Miao Zhenshan's current situation immediately. Even if the Miao family had lost 2 veteran Emperor stage experts. Miao He did not dare to imagine how angry and shocked his grandfather would be when he heard that he had lost his right-hand man. At the same time, the purpose of Miao He's call was to ask Miao Zhinshan how to deal with Zheng Kaiyuan and his blood-related aunt, Miao Ji. Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's deaths were ultimately because of Zheng Kaiyuan's request. Zheng Kaiyuan's life was related to whether the Miao family could be connected to the Moon Empress disciple. According to the current development of the situation, when the Zheng family's patriarch, Zheng Ji, was killed in the extreme battle arena, Sky City could immediately decide to kill everyone in the Zheng family. The Miao family had already lost 2 emperor stage experts for Zheng Kaiyuan, so it was necessary to preserve Zheng Kaiyuan's life in such a situation. Otherwise, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's sacrifice would be in vain. Lin Yuan stood with his hands behind his back as he watched everything that was happening in the extreme battle arena. At this moment, Sky City was truly showing itself in front of the other factions. Presumably, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's deaths would make the other factions wary of Sky City. As for Zheng Ji and the other Zheng family members present, Lin Yuan already had plans. Zhou Luo, who was standing in the extreme battle arena, felt that his action of extending his finger was simply too cool. Zhou Luo raised his finger again and spoke in a tone that was 70% arrogant and 30% disdainful. "Endless summer, I'll leave the Zheng family's patriarch, Zheng Ji, to you." Upon hearing that, Endless Summer almost burst out laughing. Lin Yuan's order to the Void Shadow Demon had already been completed. How could Zhou Luo have the nerve to command the Void Shadow Demon to fight? Even if Zhou Luo had the nerve, he would definitely not be able to command the Void Shadow Demon. Endless Summer also extended a finger and pointed at Zheng Ji like Zhou Luo had done previously. "Shooting Spear of Summer, shoot 3,000 shots." As Endless Summer's voice fell, 3,000 pinkish-purple embroidered ball-shaped flowers instantly appeared in the sky above the extreme battle arena. The 3,000 embroidered ball-shaped flowers instantly scattered into a sky full of flower rain. In the sky full of flower rain, 3,000 pinkish-purple shooting spears shot at Zheng Ji and the power god Dung Beetle. Facing Endless Summer's attack, Zheng Ji did not dodge. Instead, he suddenly looked up at the sky. When he looked up at the sky, Zheng Ji's eyes were filled with dejection and reminiscence. It was unknown when dark clouds had gathered in the sky, but it was raining heavily. Before the rain could land on Zheng Ji's face, Zheng Ji and the power god Dung Beetle were pierced by the 3,000 shooting spears of summer. When the first shooting spear of summer pierced Zheng Ji's body, Zheng Ji suddenly felt that the original Zheng family was rather good. The Zheng family's appearance seemed to have changed since Miao Ji married into the Zheng family and Zheng Kaiyuan was born. The Zheng family that he had guarded for most of his life was gone, just like his life that was disappearing. 3,000 shooting spears of summer stacked together, forming a beautiful flower burial. After the extreme battle manager Gu Han confirmed Zheng Ji's death, he immediately announced, "In the Blood Oath extreme battle between Sky City and the Zheng family, Sky City used group combat to eliminate the Zheng family's 3 experts that participated in the Blood Oath extreme battle and obtained victory in the Blood Oath extreme battle. According to the rules of the Blood Oath extreme battle, Sky City can freely execute everything left behind by the veteran faction, the Zheng family." While speaking, Gu Han's eyes quietly landed on Zhou Luo's shadow. Previously, Gu Han already knew that Sky City had a peak Emperor-level combatant participating in the battle. However, he did not expect it to be an 11th-level Void Shadow Demon that had reached the 8th tribulation of creation stage. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1128. Gu Han lowered her head and looked at the information that Sky City had submitted in her hands speechlessly. The 3rd expert participating in the Blood Oath extreme battle only had the word "Shadow" written in his name. Even a ghost would not be able to guess that it was a Void Shadow Fiend. At the same time, Gu Han could not help but secretly speculate about Sky City. Could it be that the Sky Castle had a relationship with a certain majesty? Class 6 Abyss dimensional rifts could connect to the Abyss world. It was not impossible to control abyssal demons and obtain their allegiance to bring them to the main world. However, the Class 6 Abyss dimensional rift was still in a sealed state, and only 13 holiness could freely enter and exit the Abyss world. This meant that the Class 11-8 Calamity Creation Void Shadow Fiend must have been brought out from the Abyss world by a certain holiness. Guessing was just guessing, but as a smart person, Gu Han would not rashly ask some questions. At the same time, Gu Han thought to himself, the Miao family's beast creation garden has really kicked an iron plate this time. With the death of 2 veteran Emperor-class experts, the Miao family's beast creation garden's Emperor-class experts would be weaker compared to the other top competing factions. The death of 2 veteran Emperor-class experts would greatly reduce the negative discussion of the Miao family sending 2 veteran Emperor-class experts to help the Zheng family in the Blood Oath extreme battle with Sky City. However, these negative discussions would ultimately have a considerable impact on the Miao family. Fortunately, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were not creation masters, so their deaths would not affect the Miao family's beast creation garden's creation master foundation. From the moment Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan died, Lin Yuan's eyes had been fixed on Miao He's area in the audience seats. When he saw Miao He pick up his cell phone to make a call, the corners of Lin Yuan's mouth curled up. The Blood Oath extreme battle with the Zheng family had ended. However, the dispute in the extreme battle arena was far from over. Lin Yuan looked at the opposite side of the extreme battle arena, who had a look of disbelief on his face. Lin Yuan walked toward Zheng Kaiyuan with the people from Sky City behind him. Every step Lin Yuan took on the ground was equivalent to stepping on the tip of Zheng Kaiyuan's heart. With every step Lin Yuan took, Zheng Kaiyuan would feel that his life was fading away a little faster. Lin Yuan's walking speed was not fast, but he thought to himself as he walked. The Miao family's beast creation garden wasn't far from the polar arena. Given the power of an emperor-level being, he should have reached the polar arena by now. Lin Yuan said to Endless Summer, who was standing beside him. Endless Summer, reward every surviving member of the Zheng family with a shooting spear of summer. Lin Yuan didn't have the slightest intention of showing mercy to the rest of the Zheng family. When Endless Summer heard his words, she immediately waved her hand. Within the curtain of rain, hundreds of purple flower balls appeared out of thin air again and scattered into a rain of petals. One after another, the shooting guns of summer shot through the crowd of people from the Zheng family. As Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan had lost their legs and needed to be carried, Miao Qi and Zheng Kaiyuan were on the left side of the team. Just as the rest of the Zheng family became the undead under the shooting spear of summer and the shooting spear of summer shot towards Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan, a roar suddenly came from mid-air. Don't shoot! Then, a golden barrier appeared in front of Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan. The white-haired Miao Jinshan stood in mid-air, and a scholarly man who looked to be in his 30s stood beside him. The scholarly man had a scar on his eyebrows, and this scar caused his eyebrows to be split into 2. This caused the scholarly man's face to be tainted with a trace of a bandit's aura. Standing behind Miao Jinshan and the scholarly man was an old lady, and she was the one who had casually released that barrier. Lin Yuan immediately used true data to check on the old lady. Lin Yuan realized that this old lady wasn't a fae but an S+ spirit chi professional. From the strength of the barrier that the old lady had released, it could easily block Endless Summer's shooting guns of summer. This meant that this old lady was definitely a veteran emperor-level expert. As for who was stronger between the dead Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe, it was impossible to tell with just a barrier. When Miao Jinshan saw Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's split bodies, his eyes immediately turned red as though he was crying blood. However, Miao Jinshan wasn't the only one with such intense emotions. After the scholarly man appeared, Ji Feng, who was shrouded in a black robe, suddenly clenched his fists tightly and pursed his lips. As he had pursed his lips too hard, Ji Feng's teeth had already cut his lips. Fresh blood dripped from the corner of his lips and flowed into the spacious sky-blue cloud robe. Ji Feng desperately restrained his aura and didn't let a trace of it leak out. Lu Jie, who was standing beside Ji Feng, keenly sensed the change and immediately reached out to hold Ji Feng's arm. As a companion, Lu Jie naturally knew about Ji Feng's background. At the same time, Lu Jie also recognized the scholarly man standing beside Miao Jinshan. This scholarly man was the second elder of the Whale Ocean Trade's Elder Association and one of the 3 bigwigs of the 10,000 Flags Trade. Lu Jie had seen how Lin Yuan had looked at Miao He earlier. He knew that Lin Yuan was doing this to lure out the Miao family's leader. However, when the Miao family's family head, Miao Zhinshan, came, why was the Whale Ocean Trade's second elder standing beside him? Lin Yuan looked at the three people in the sky. Before he could give an order, a majestic aura pierced the sky. A monstrous aura emanated from Gu Han's body. Lin Yuan could smell an immortal aura from the aura emanating from Gu Han's body. Gu Han looked up at Miao Zhinshan and the Whale Ocean Trade's second elder in the sky. The immortal aura firmly locked onto the old woman who had just released the golden barrier and said faintly, "Why? Is the Miao family here to cause trouble in the polar arena?" The polar arena has always been tainted with the blood of factions. Miao Zhinshan, as the family head of the Miao family's beast creation garden, you should know this common knowledge, right? At the same time Gu Han released her aura, 12 experts holding totem pillars had unknowingly surrounded the edge of the polar arena. From the moment these experts appeared, they released their aura. The 12 auras tightly covered the sky above the polar arena. Moreover, the auras emitted by the 12 extreme Dipper guards carried obvious killing intent. After sensing the aura, Lin Yuan realized that the 12 experts holding totem pillars were actually not weaker than Lu Yenshan. It was said that there were extreme Dipper guards who guarded the polar arena's rules. The extreme Dipper guards were responsible for maintaining order in the polar arena. They were holding totem pillars that were officially engraved with the factions that had been executed for not complying with the polar arena's rules. Facing the aura emitted by Gu Han and the 12 extreme Dipper guards, cold sweat instantly slid down Miao Zhinshan's forehead. End of this chapter. Chapter 1129. The middle-aged man with the broken eyebrows, who was standing beside Miao Zhinshan, was a little surprised. Miao Zhinshan had indeed blocked the Sky City's attack. He had rescued Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan from the Sky City's attack. However, that was only a last resort in an emergency. Miao Zhinshan did not express that he wanted to cause trouble in the extreme arena, nor did he make a move to attack. In the extreme arena, after one faction lost, the other factions would take out the corresponding resources to save the lives of the losing faction's members. In such a situation, why would Gu Han show such obvious hostility toward Miao Zhinshan? Moreover, this hostility was too abrupt, as if he was protecting the Sky City and expressing goodwill to them. This discovery made the middle-aged man look at Lin Yuan with curiosity, as if he wanted to see something different about him. The refined middle-aged man knew what kind of person the steward of the extreme arena, Gu Han, was. Gu Han had previously worked under Night Leaning Moon. Due to the division of the extreme arena, he had been transferred to the Iron Prison and had been put in an important position. He was also a well-known figure in the Radiance Federation. Such a person expressing goodwill to a faction seemed a little ridiculous no matter how one looked at it. Gu Han had even called over the extreme Dipper guards. Did Gu Han really want to execute Miao Zhinshan because of such a small matter? Miao Zhinshan felt the pressure emitted by Gu Han and the 12 extreme Dipper guards and felt his heart clench. He hurriedly wanted to explain. At that moment, a shrill voice that was obviously frightened echoed, "Dad, hurry up and save me and Kaiyuan. They killed the Zheng family members and want to kill me." Following this mournful voice was another even more mournful voice. "Grandfather." Before Zheng Kaiyuan could finish speaking, it was as if he had become a rooster whose throat had been grabbed. All the words were stuck in his throat, and he did not dare to spit out a word. Zheng Kaiyuan saw Miao Zhinshan looking at him with blood-red eyes, which were brewing something deep and obscure. With one look, it made Zheng Kaiyuan feel as if dying under the shooting of Summer's spear was the true release. Before Miao Zhinshan, the elegant man with the broken eyebrows, and the old woman behind them had released the golden barrier to protect Zheng Kaiyuan, Lin Yuan had already quietly let the Void Shadow Devil use its full strength to conceal itself. He then recalled the Void Shadow Demon into the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. Recalling the Void Shadow Devil into the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone was the key to his next move. Everything was within Lin Yuan's expectations. It could be said that the only thing that surprised Lin Yuan was the extreme arena's reaction. Lin Yuan looked at Miao Zhinshan, who had a gloomy expression. "What?" The Miao family sacrificed the lives of 2 veteran great emperors to help the Zheng family, and now they're here to clean up after the Zheng family? Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Miao Zhinshan did not immediately reply. Instead, he turned to Gu Han and said, Sir Gu Han, I represent the Miao family to take out some resources from the Beast Creation Garden for my 2 old friends. At the same time, make a deal with Sky City and save Jing Kaiyuan from them. Upon hearing Miao Zhinshan's words, Gu Han's aura remained unchanged. Sky City has already won the blood oath battle against the Zheng family. Now, everything in the extreme arena is Sky City's private property. If you want to make a deal, go and talk to Sky City. If you can't, don't cause any more trouble in the extreme arena. It has been almost 15 years since the Extreme Do Guards dealt with a top faction that caused trouble. The Zheng family is about to appear on the Extreme Arena B's totem stone pillar. I believe the Miao family will not want to follow in the Zheng family's footsteps and let their totem appear on the totem stone pillar in the hands of the Extreme Do Guards. Upon hearing that, Miao Zhinshan's brows furrowed tightly. He had indeed been rash previously. He had rashly made a move to save people in the Extreme Arena and violated the Extreme Arena's rules. However, now that he had lowered his stance, Gu Han did not give him any face at all. If the Beast Creation Garden had lost the chance to get its hands on the Du Immortal Garden because of the cooperation between Sky City and the Du Immortal Garden, Miao Zhinshan would only hate Sky City. Now, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden and Sky City were already tainted with a blood feud. Under such circumstances, it was really difficult for Miao Zhinshan to calmly discuss a deal with Sky City. However, Miao Zhinshan had no choice but to endure the situation. At that moment, Miao Zhinshan quietly circulated his spiritual power and carried out a detailed investigation of Sky City. Miao Zhinshan wanted to know what was hidden in Sky City that could instantly kill Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, who had used all their strength to defend. In the end, Miao Zhinshan was surprised to find that he could not detect any powerful aura in Sky City. Sky City's strongest Fae was only a Monarch Class 1 Creation Tribulation Fae. Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan could easily kill such a Fae. Miao Zhinshan had become a pinnacle Emperor-class expert with the resources that the Miao family had gathered over the years. Even with his pinnacle Emperor-class strength, he could not detect anything fishy in Sky City. A chill ran down Miao Zhinshan's spine, and he could not help but shiver. Then, Miao Zhinshan looked at the elegant middle-aged man standing beside him and gave him a look. When the elegant middle-aged man saw Miao Zhinshan's look, he reached out and touched his broken eyebrow. Then, according to Miao Zhinshan's request, he sensed the location of Sky City. After sensing it, the elegant middle-aged man's broken eyebrow furrowed tightly. Then, an immortal aura pressure faintly emanated from the elegant middle-aged man's body. However, even with this immortal aura pressure, the search was still fruitless. The middle-aged man's expression immediately turned serious. If the elegant middle-aged man had only been interested in Sky City before, then he was now looking at Lin Yuan with an obvious probing gaze. The elegant middle-aged man really did not understand when such a powerful faction had appeared in the Radiance Federation. Lin Yuan raised his eyebrows when he sensed the immortal aura emanating from the elegant middle-aged man. Sure enough, someone in the whale ocean trade had already caught a glimpse of immortality. At the same time, he silently praised himself for recalling the Void Shadow Fiend back into the Spirit Lock spatial zone. Otherwise, his trump card would have been exposed to the elegant middle-aged man's perception. When the elegant middle-aged man released his aura to probe unscrupulously, Gu Han said coldly, "Di Wanqing, casually leaking your aura will cause misunderstandings. I'm sure you don't want to cause any unnecessary misunderstandings." Di Wanqing's eyes flickered when he heard Gu Han's words. End of chapter. Chapter 1130. Di Wanqing and Gu Han had been friends for a long time, so he knew that Gu Han wouldn't target him just because he released his aura. Gu Han's words were to tell him not to cause unnecessary misunderstandings. This also meant that Sky City was not to be trifled with. Looking at Miao Zhinshan's gaze, Di Wanqing shrugged and shook his head. Seeing Di Wanqing's reaction, Miao Zhinshan's blood-red eyes darkened. Then, he turned his head and stared at Lin Yuan for a long time before speaking. Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan are both meritorious members of our Miao family. It is only right for our Miao family to bury them properly. Our Miao family will compensate Sky City accordingly. At the same time, our Miao family can also offer some resources in exchange for Zheng Kaiyuan's life. Zheng Kaiyuan's life is insignificant to Sky City, so, before Miao Zhinshan could finish his words, Lin Yuan interrupted him playfully. The Miao family's family head is indeed the Miao family's family head. Your Miao family wants to help the Miao family help the Zheng family withdraw from the Blood Oath Extreme battle with just a few words. Isn't your plan too good? Let's not talk about anything else. I haven't even dug out the world crystals in the dragon snails and the ghost sky beast's heads. Can the Miao family's beast creation garden compensate me more than these 2 world crystals? You're still thinking of freeloading at a time like this? I really don't know how eager your Miao family is to take advantage of other forces when they cooperate with them. Lin Yuan's words made Miao Zhinshan's expression change. He had clearly said that he was going to collect Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, but he hadn't mentioned anything about the geocentric dragon's nail and the ghost sky beast. However, Lin Yuan had changed his words and used it to attack the beast creation garden. If words like, the Miao family's beast creation garden were to spread, the Star Web reporters would report it tomorrow. The top factions and veteran factions that were collaborating with the Miao family would probably pull out of the collaboration as soon as possible. As the dignified family head of the Miao family, he couldn't explain himself at this time. He couldn't just explicitly say that he didn't care about the geocentric dragon's nail and ghost sky beast's bodies, right? The geocentric dragon's nail and the ghost sky centipede were Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's main phase. If they directly expressed that they didn't care, it would make the beast creation garden seem heartless. Just as Miao Zhinshan was about to change the topic, Lin Yuan continued. You only said to save Zheng Kaiyuan. Are you not going to save Miao Ji? Compared to Zheng Kaiyuan, Miao Zhicai is more like a member of the Miao family. Lin Yuan's words were like a ruthless slap on Miao Zhinshan's face. That was indeed Miao Zhinshan's plan. But this kind of thing was pointed out, so Miao Zhinshan had to bite the bullet and refute it at the first possible moment. Both of them are members of the Miao clan. Of course, we have to save them. Upon hearing Miao Zhinshan's words, Lin Yuan laughed heartily. I knew that the Miao family's beast creation garden was loyal and would not allow their own people to be killed. However, Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji are not cheap. If I want to save Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji at the same time, I will need 2 world crystals. Of course, your Miao family can forget about getting Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe back. If Red Thorn had not completed its evolution last night, the tongue of Relinquish had obtained the ability to control dead bodies through that strange plant seed. As long as the Miao family's beast creation garden provided enough resources, Lin Yuan was willing to return Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, and their contracted phase, the geocentric dragon's nail and the ghost sky centipede to the Miao family. After all, if he could use Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, the ghost sky centipede, and the geocentric dragon snail's bodies to exchange for a few more world crystals, it would be great. However, compared to the temptation of 2 Emperor-class humanoid weapons, Lin Yuan would not even consider 10 world crystals. Moreover, the Miao family's beast creation garden might not be able to take out 10 world crystals. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's request, Miao Zhinshan suddenly gritted his teeth. Miao Zhinshan's cheeks were bulging from the bite, which showed how angry he was. Miao Zhinshan took a deep breath and said, Is Sky City extorting the Miao family? Is Sky City trying to extort the Miao family? 2 world crystals. How can Sky City think of this? Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan ignored Miao Zhinshan and turned to give an order to Endless Summer. Endless Summer, give the Miao family head 3 seconds to think about it. If he doesn't agree within 3 seconds, it will be considered that he doesn't agree to this deal. When the time comes, just deal with Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan. After giving the order to Endless Summer, Lin Yuan spoke to Gu Han. Senior, if the Miao family tries to stop us again, it will be deliberately breaking the Extreme Arena's rules. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Gu Han immediately expressed, If anyone breaks the Extreme Arena's rules again, the 12 Extreme Combat Guards will immediately execute the person who breaks the rules. While Gu Han was speaking, 2 shooting spears of summer suddenly shot toward Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji. The moment the shooting spears of summer pierced Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan's bodies, Miao Zhinshan made a difficult decision and spoke. I agree to Sky City's request. Just as Miao Zhinshan spoke, the shooting spears of summer that pierced Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji's bodies suddenly dissipated. Upon seeing this, Miao Zhinshan felt as though he was bound to be eaten by Sky City. The other party seemed to have expected that he would take out 2 world crystals to save Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji. This feeling of being seen through made Miao Zhinshan's heart give birth to fear. Upon hearing Miao Zhinshan's words, Lin Yuan raised his hand and gently clapped. As expected of the Miao family head. Straightforward indeed. I'll give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, I'll use 2 world crystals in exchange for you taking Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan away. While speaking, Lin Yuan felt that he had done a good job in tying Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan together. He had forcefully tied Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan together in exchange for an extra world crystal from the Miao family. Miao Zhinshan's heart must be aching at this moment. Miao Zhinshan turned to look at the old woman standing behind him. The old woman had a hesitant expression on her face. Finally, when she saw Miao Zhinshan's resolute expression, she flew back to the Miao family to prepare to hand over the world crystal to Sky City. Under Miao Zhinshan's bloodshot eyes, Lin Yuan had already started to use the diamond face storage box to store Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, the geocentric dragon's nail, and the ghost sky centipede beast bodies that had been split in half. The blood of the creation breed phase was as thick as mercury. When it dripped on the ground, it would not evaporate or seep into the ground. Lin Yuan also carefully collected the blood. The blood of the 2 creation breed phase could be considered premium goods among the resources that Lin Yuan currently had. The blood of the creation breed phase was much more precious than the heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1131. The negotiation between Sky City and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden was heard by all the spectators. They did not expect the Miao family, which was a top faction, to be so weak against Sky City. Didn't this mean that Sky City was much stronger than the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden? Miao he sat powerlessly in the spectator seats. As a direct descendant of the Miao family's younger generation, Miao he felt a strong sense of powerlessness and humiliation. In the past, be it as the Miao family's second young master or the current first young master, in Miao He's eyes, the Miao family would always be his strongest backing. At this moment, Miao He felt for the first time that the Miao family behind him was not omnipotent. On the other side, Sun Ningxiang's body trembled with excitement. When Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan died, Sun Ningxiang knew that the Miao family would no longer have the energy to covet the Du Immortal Garden. While Sun Ningxiang was excited, Tao Yao and Xinghua, who were sitting beside her, were also very excited. Tao Yao saw that Sun Ningxiang's eyes were fixed on Sky City's city lord. Tao Yao, who was now extremely agitated, began to speak in an off-key manner. Young lady, look at Sky City's city lord's height. It matches you so well. When Sun Ningxiang heard Tao Yao's words, she quickly reached out and rubbed Tao Yao's smiling face. What nonsense are you talking about? Don't always think about those meaningless things at such a young age. When you go back, cancel all the arrangements in Du Immortal Garden that are related to the Miao family. Put all the spare manpower into nurturing those high-quality production-type plant phase. After nurturing the bronze/epic phase obtained from Sky City, the Du Immortal Garden can try to integrate the entire plant species Fey market. Xinghua, who was sitting at the side, smiled when she heard her young mistress seriously assigning tasks to Tao Yao. All of a sudden, Xinghua, who was smiling sweetly, realized that her young lady's earlobes had turned pink. This discovery made Xinghua's smile even more radiant. Ever since Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were killed, the sound of photos had never stopped. If the Extreme Battle Arena did not allow access to Star Web, some Star Web reporters would have started a live broadcast. Soon, the old woman who had gone to prepare the world crystals returned to the extreme battle arena. The old woman handed the 2 brocade boxes to Miao Zhinshan. Miao Zhinshan took the 2 brocade boxes and quickly walked to Gu Han's side. He then handed the box containing the 2 world crystals to Gu Han. Gu Han took the brocade box from Miao Zhinshan and checked it before walking to Lin Yuan's side and handing it to him. Lin Yuan opened the 2 brocade boxes and saw 1 green and 1 blue world crystal. Within the green world crystal was a pure white elk. The elk's antlers grew into many branches, which rose high into the air, and on the branches were blooming flowers of various colors. The inside of the green world crystal seemed to be a world formed by a forest and a stream. The white elk was running freely in the stream and forest. Along the way, flowers kept falling from the antlers, and every flower that fell instantly gave the forest a new burst of life. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan used Morbius True Data to check this world crystal. After probing it, Lin Yuan immediately knew that this world crystal had come from a Class 1 Monarch Class Creation Tribulation Holy Rejuvenation White Deer. The law contained in the world crystal was a robust law world. This Holy Rejuvenation White Deer was a healing type Fey, and it could use the robust law world to replenish a large amount of life force in an area. It allowed the target within the area to thrive. It could be said that Fays that were qualified to become creation breeds would not have weak law worlds. The robust law world that this healing type Holy Rejuvenation White Deer had comprehended was a very rare existence. The reason the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden was willing to give such a rare law world to him should be because this world crystal's quality was the lowest. It only had 1 creation earth vein. Lin Yuan suddenly thought of letting the Holy Sword-hugging Queen absorb this robust law world crystal produced from the Holy Rejuvenation White Deer's body. The Holy Sword-hugging Queen's sword skill in the Holy Sword state was very likely to have healing abilities. If that was the case, the appearance of this world crystal was equivalent to adding a powerful healing method to Lin Yuan. In the other blue world crystal, there was a vast ocean with no end. This vast ocean sometimes condensed into ice and sometimes turned into water. As the ice and water alternated, there seemed to be a huge figure hidden at the bottom of the sea. When the seawater thawed, through the waves, one could faintly see the huge and slender figure hidden in the deep sea. Lin Yuan used Morbius True Data to investigate this blue world crystal. He found that this world crystal was produced in the body of a Class 3 Monarch Class 2nd Tribulation Submerged Ocean Blue Whale. The law world inside the blue world crystal was the Vast Water Law World. The Vast Water Law World belonged to a very pure water-type law world. According to the changes in the shape of the ocean in the blue world crystal, the Vast Water Law seemed to have the ability to transform water and ice back and forth. Looking at this vast water world crystal with comprehensive and mediocre abilities, Lin Yuan really could not guess what kind of sword skill the Holy Sword-hugging Queen would produce after absorbing it. At the same time, Lin Yuan also wanted to try using this vast water world crystal with 2 creation earth veins. He wanted to see if the vast water world crystal with 2 creation earth veins could be preserved after the Holy Sword-hugging Queen absorbed it. After checking the 2 world crystals and confirming that there were no mistakes, Lin Yuan closed the 2 brocade boxes in his hands. He closed the 2 brocade boxes and stored them in the amber button-shaped diamond Fey storage box. He turned to Miao Zhinshan and said, "I am very satisfied with the world crystal that the Miao family has provided me. Now, according to the agreement, the lives of Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji belong to the Miao family. Also, I hope that the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden will not find trouble with Sky City again. Otherwise, the Sky City won't be as easy to talk to next time. The Miao family might be able to save Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji this time, but they might not be able to save themselves next time." Lin Yuan's words had pushed Miao Zhinshan's patience to the limit. Miao Zhinshan roared like a madman. "Is Sky City threatening the Beast Creation Garden?" Lin Yuan raised his brows. "You can think of it that way. Even though the Zheng family is the one who initiated the Blood Oath battle," Yi Zichen said. "But in fact, this Blood Oath extreme battle is between Sky City and Beast Creation Garden. If the Beast Creation Garden is unhappy, You can initiate a blood oath battle with Sky City. By then, Sky City will let the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden know what it means to be convinced. Chapter 1132. Upon hearing that, Miao Zhinshan was so angry that he laughed. The suppressed anger made Miao Zhinshan feel that the string of reason in his mind was suddenly pulled tight. However, Miao Zhinshan was not Zheng Kaiyuan. He would not joke around with the Miao family's century-old foundation. At the same time, Miao Zhinshan was also afraid of the expert from Sky City who could split Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan into two. Even though Miao Zhinshan had not stopped using his spiritual energy to investigate, he still could not find any traces of that expert in the extreme arena. Therefore, in the face of Lin Yuan's threat and provocation, Miao Zhinshan could not refute or respond to Lin Yuan's words even if he lost face. Miao Zhinshan was afraid now. He was afraid that Sky City would initiate a blood oath extreme battle against the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. Lin Yuan's threat to Miao Zhinshan caused the audience to exclaim, especially the members of the rising factions who had come to the extreme arena to watch the show. The veteran factions were already high and mighty in the eyes of these rising factions, and the top factions were the ceiling of the ceiling. They could only look up to them and were out of reach. However, this unreachable existence was threatened to the point of not daring to make a sound. Not only the audience in the extreme arena, but even the veteran faction's audience could not help but discuss wildly. Hasn't the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden been rushing forward on the top faction leaderboard all these years? Why does such a top faction look so ordinary now? Sky City is really domineering. I heard that the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden is extremely arrogant. Previously, a few rising factions offended the Miao family's young master, Miao Zhua, and Miao Zhua destroyed those rising factions. The Miao family is finally getting their retribution. The trashy Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. They are already being trampled on, yet they dare not make a sound. I really don't know how Miao Zhinshan became the family head of the Miao family. He has no guts or boldness at all. The Beast Creation Garden is really embarrassed this time. I'm waiting to see the Star Web reporter's report tomorrow. I want to see how the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden will be posted on Star Web and get scolded. As an Emperor-class expert, Miao Zhinshan's spiritual energy was very strong. Naturally, he heard all the discussions in the audience. Every word of discussion was like a potato scratching Miao Zhinshan's face layer by layer. Even if Miao Zhinshan was thick-skinned, these comments were enough to shave his face clean. Moreover, Miao Zhinshan's skin was not thick to begin with. However, Miao Zhinshan couldn't do anything about it. Releasing the aura of an Emperor-class powerhouse to punish the spectators who were gossiping was not permitted by the polar arena. This was tantamount to breaking the rules of the extreme arena. If he did that, he wouldn't have to use Sky City to deal with him. Gu Han would attack him immediately. As for remembering the faces of the people who talked about the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, it was possible to find out which faction these people belonged to and take revenge on them. However, if such a thing was discovered, the Miao family's Beast Creation Park would no longer be able to establish itself in the Radiance Federation. At this moment, Miao Zhinshan, who had lost all face, only wanted to leave the extreme battle arena as soon as possible. Miao Zhinshan waved his hand and summoned a Fey carriage while everyone was watching and discussing. After the Fey carriage appeared, Miao Zhinshan took Miao Zhi, Zheng Kaiyuan, and the old woman behind him and left the extreme arena. During this time, Miao Zhinshan didn't say a word to Di Wanqing, who had come with him. Di Wanqing's face darkened. He cupped his hands at Gu Han and greeted her before chasing after Miao Zhinshan. At that moment, the dark clouds above the extreme arena had drifted into the distance after the downpour. The sun rose in the east, and it rained in the west. There was no clear sky, but there was a clear sky. On Lin Yuan's side, the sky was clear after the rain, but the dark clouds in the direction that Miao Zhinshan had left were even thicker. As the dark clouds gathered in the distance, a rainbow was set up in the sky. The appearance of this rainbow seemed to reflect the miracle that had just happened in the extreme arena. Looking at the rainbow in the sky, Lin Yuan felt that it was time to leave the Extreme Arena and go to Indigo Azure City to meet Zheng Kaiyan. After leaving the Extreme Arena with the people from Sky City, Lin Yuan gave them a few instructions and used the ethereal jellyfish's node teleportation ability. He teleported from the royal capital to Indigo Azure City. As the ethereal jellyfish reached Diamond X/Legend, it had condensed a lot of spatial crystals through its wandering fishing ability. When he had cut the ethereal jellyfish's tentacles, he had found that it could speed up the growth of its tentacles by absorbing the spatial crystals it had created. This made it easier for him to set up the ethereal jellyfish's tentacles all over the Radiance Federation for node teleportation. Ever since he had started thinking about the veteran faction, the Zheng family, he had ordered the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce's people to set up the ethereal jellyfish's tentacles bit by bit in the direction of Indigo Azure City. Now, he was going to use multiple node teleportation to carry out an ultra-long-distance trip. This trip was also a big test for the spiritual power in his body. Along the way, Miao Zhenshan looked at Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan with a gloomy expression. Miao Zhenshan, who had lost his old partner, been threatened by Sky City, and been humiliated in the Extreme Arena, could no longer control his emotions. Miao Zhenshan's thunderous rage scared Miao Ji and Zheng Kaiyuan so much that they did not dare to speak. Zheng Kaiyuan was not a fool. On the contrary, he had always been very smart. Zheng Kaiyuan had become so arrogant mainly because the Miao family had given him help. The addition of an Emperor-class expert had made Zheng Kaiyuan feel that Sky City was bound to lose in the Blood Oath Extreme battle. However, Zheng Kaiyuan had not expected Sky City to be so strong. Even 2 veteran Emperor-class experts had been killed by Sky City in seconds. Now that the Miao family had lost 2 Emperor-class experts because of him, it was equivalent to saying that he had made a huge mistake. Even if he died 10,000 times, it would not be enough to make up for such a mistake. However, Miao Zhenshan was willing to spend a world crystal to save him, which meant that he was still useful. Zheng Kaiyuan did not think that his life alone was worth the price of a world crystal. Miao Zhenshan must have saved him because he held the channel to communicate with the Moon Empress disciple. The Miao family also needed this channel. Especially after losing 2 Emperor-class experts, the Miao family needed the Golden Lotus Brocade to stabilize the Miao family's situation. At that thought, Zheng Kaiyuan felt as though he had caught a fatal straw, which made him feel at ease. Zheng Kaiyuan calculated in his heart. Now that the Zheng family was gone, he could only stay with the Miao family. As a sinner of the Miao family, how could he use this life-saving straw to let himself live long and long in the Miao family? This was the question that Zheng Kaiyuan urgently needed to consider. Miao Ji's body was curled up and trembling. It was said that no one knew a son better than his father. As Miao Zhenshan's biological daughter, Miao Ji knew Miao Zhenshan the best. End of this chapter. Chapter 1133. In the extreme battle arena, his father had only mentioned saving his son, Zheng Kaiyuan. This meant that his father did not care about his life or death. Because of his life, his father had lost a world crystal because of his pride. How could he have a good life after returning to the Miao family? At that moment, Miao Zhenshan's expression suddenly changed. Miao Zhenshan realized that Di Wanqing had appeared not far in front of his fey carriage. Seeing Miao Zhenshan's fey carriage driving over, Di Wanqing spoke indifferently. Miao Zhenshan, your fey carriage isn't fast enough. I've been waiting for you here for a long time. When Miao Zhenshan saw Di Wanqing, he immediately snorted and did not stop the fey carriage. Instead, he let the fey carriage crash towards Di Wanqing. Di Wanqing had been a guest at the Miao family and had discussed cooperation with him. It had happened suddenly, and he had brought Di Wanqing to the extreme battle arena because Miao Zhenshan knew that Di Wanqing had a personal relationship with Gu Han. He wanted Di Wanqing to help him speak up in front of Gu Han. Who would have thought that Di Wanqing would not even let out a fart? Therefore, Miao Zhenshan was already extremely displeased with Di Wanqing and did not want to continue discussing cooperation with him. When Di Wanqing saw Miao Zhenshan driving the fey carriage towards him without saying a word, he immediately raised his brow. His brow immediately twitched, and a wicked smile appeared on his elegant face. An immortal aura was suddenly released from Di Wanqing's body, and the aura was like a chain that locked Miao Zhinshan's fey carriage tightly in the air. Wanqing has come personally. Miao Zhinshan, why are you rejecting him? Miao Zhinshan, who was firmly pressed against the fey carriage by Di Wanqing's aura, narrowed his eyes. He then looked straight at Di Wanqing. Seeing that Miao Zhinshan was looking at him, Di Wanqing suddenly withdrew his aura. It was as if the immortal aura that was like a chain just now had never appeared. Miao Zhinshan, I think we can talk about cooperation now, right? After looking at Di Wanqing for a long time, Miao Zhinshan spoke indifferently. Do I have the right to say no? Di Wanqing smiled playfully when he heard this. Of course you can say no, but you know how many blood debts have been created by saying no since ancient times. Do you still remember how the Beast Creation Garden treated the Dew Immortal Garden? It could be said that Di Wanqing's words were a blatant threat to Miao Zhinshan. Miao Zhinshan thought. If it weren't for the fact that the Miao family had lost 2 veteran emperor-level powerhouses, Di Wanqing wouldn't have made such a threat even if the cooperation didn't work out. At this time, the Miao family was obviously at a disadvantage, so they could not refuse Di Wanqing's request. As the second-in-command of Whale Ocean Trading, Di Wanqing had the right to make one of the top 3 factions target the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. The Beast Creation Garden, which had lost 2 veteran emperor-level powerhouses, still had to face public criticism. The suppression of the whale ocean trade was absolutely unbearable. As the patriarch of the Miao family, Miao Zhinshan would not allow the Miao family to continue declining after losing 2 emperor-level powerhouses. Since he couldn't resist, he might as well enjoy it. After enjoying it, they would get some benefits. This was the way to run a force. Miao Zhinshan said, "All right, I agree to cooperate with whale ocean trade. However, I have a request." Seeing that Miao Zhinshan agreed so sensibly, Di Wanqing touched his brow and said, "As expected of you. You're indeed straightforward. You didn't even ask about the details of the cooperation before you agreed." Miao Zhinshan replied expressionlessly, "I agreed with a condition. I agreed on a condition. I need whale ocean trading to provide resources for the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden so that our 2 peak-stage Emperor-class experts can improve further. Our Miao family's Beast Creation Garden will be secluded for 10 years. During these 10 years, the creation master resources of the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden will be prioritized to serve whale ocean trade." Upon hearing Miao Zhinshan's words, Di Wanqing's eyes suddenly flashed with a sinister glow. Di Wanqing muttered softly, "Seclusion for 10 years. Seclusion is good. Hee, our whale ocean trade sea-sky lineage has also been secluding." Upon hearing Di Wanqing's words, Miao Zhinshan recalled that the whale ocean trade's sea-sky lineage had not gone out for at least 10 years. So it was because the sea-sky lineage was secluding. The increasing number of island whales in the whale ocean trade should have a lot to do with the sea-sky lineage's seclusion. The sea-sky lineage was probably doing its best to nurture new island whales for the whale ocean trade. However, nurturing island whales required a lot of resources. Even if the whale ocean trade could earn the difference in price through trading island whales between the various federations, it should not be able to afford such a consumption of resources. However, nurturing island whales required a lot of resources. Miao Zhinshan, who was deep in thought, did not notice the increasingly sinister gaze in Di Wanqing's eyes. It was as though this sinister gaze could occupy everything. It was also as though he was looking forward to and worshipping the upcoming revival. As soon as he teleported to Indigo Azure City through the node, Lin Yuan sat down on the road in Indigo Azure City. Along the way, he found a break to change out of Sky City's standard attire. He changed into a set of black and white Spirit Chi attire with a simple design and style. Sitting on the road, he felt as though his entire body had been hollowed out. There was not a single drop left. This feeling of weakness made his head a little dizzy. Lin Yuan thought to himself, "Even if my body is good, I can't torture myself like this. I must not overdraft the spiritual power in my body unless it's necessary, even if it's to test my abilities." The people of Indigo Azure City were simple and honest. When they saw Lin Yuan fall on the road, an auntie walked over to see if he was sick and helped him up. This auntie was obviously a spirit chi professional. When she arrived in front of Lin Yuan and saw the situation, she immediately knew what was going on with him. The auntie stretched her neck and shouted on the road. "Which of your fays can recover spiritual power? There's a handsome young man here who has overdrafted his spiritual power. Who can help him recover some spiritual power?" Just as the auntie shouted twice, another auntie came over. The new auntie waved her hand and summoned a peerless spirit Samayed of the same grade. The peerless spirit Samayed was a canine fae that could grow up to over 1 meter long. The peerless spirit Samayed's ability to recover spiritual power was not very good. However, due to its appearance, it was very suitable as a pet, making it very expensive. Lin Yuan thought to himself. It turns out that this auntie who helped me recover spiritual power is a rich woman. The Peled spirit Samayed circled around Lin Yuan a few times, but it didn't help him recover much spiritual power. Although it could not help Lin Yuan recover much spiritual power, it also solved the embarrassing situation of overdrafting his spiritual power. After recovering a trace of spiritual power, Lin Yuan waved his hand and used Little Black's basic ability, Spirit Injection. End of this chapter. Chapter 1134. Under the Diamond X/Legendary Blackie's spiritual injection, Blackie's spiritual shield was activated. Even though Lin Yuan was the one who had executed the skill and did not summon Blackie, Lin Yuan was the one who had executed the skill. Lin Yuan's spiritual power immediately recovered. When Lin Yuan saw the two aunties standing in front of him with concerned expressions, he quickly thanked them. The two aunties noticed Lin Yuan waving his hand to restore their spiritual power. Although they did not know how much spiritual power Lin Yuan could recover with a wave of his hand, they had already speculated that he was a support-type spirit chi professional with the ability to recover spiritual power. Seeing this, the rich pelagic Samayed auntie spoke in a sincere and heartfelt tone. "Child, you are only 15 or 16 years old. Next time, remember that as a spirit chi professional, as long as you aren't risking your life in battle, don't let your body's spirit chi be depleted. You can't even restore your own spiritual power after exhausting it, let alone assist your teammates." Lin Yuan scratched his head in embarrassment. In fact, he had exhausted his spiritual power mainly because he had calculated how many nodes he could teleport with full spiritual power. This would allow him to have a clear understanding of his abilities. He was about to go to the Divine Wood Federation for training, so he would use the ethereal jellyfish node teleportation a lot. Doing the calculations now would be of great benefit to his future training. Although the auntie's teachings were useless to Lin Yuan quickly replied to her help. "Thank you, aunties. I'll be more careful next time." After thanking them, Lin Yuan waved goodbye to the two aunties. After Lin Yuan left, one of the two aunties suddenly asked with some doubt. "Why does that child look so familiar? Where have I seen him before?" After one of the aunts finished speaking, the other aunts hurriedly echoed. "I also feel like I've seen it somewhere before, but I can't remember where." Lin Yuan, who was walking on the streets of Indigo Azure City, had already released the Void Shadow Demon from the Spirit Lock spatial zone. The Void Shadow Devil once again entered Lin Yuan's shadow. Lin Yuan lowered his head and said to the Void Shadow Demon in the shadow, "Shadow, you did well today. I've more or less gathered all the source-type energy you need to become an apostle." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the Void Shadow Fiend in Lin Yuan's shadow immediately became excited. However, the excited Void Shadow Demon immediately became apprehensive. The Void Shadow Demon whispered to Lin Yuan, "Master, I've already reached the 11th level of the 8th tribulation of creation for a very long time, but I've never had the opportunity to break through. When I killed those 2 humans and 2 creation breed phase just now, I vaguely felt a breakthrough opportunity descend. Master, I wonder if I can request to undergo the source baptism to transform into an apostle at a later time. I want to make use of this opportunity to grow, and then use the source-type baptism to ascend to an apostle to see if I can directly rush to level 12. The nothingness shadow fiend spoke very cautiously, even humbly. As for the opportunity to break through, the shadowless demon really wanted to use it rationally. From there, the possibility of leveling up would be realized. However, the void shadow demon was afraid that Lin Yuan would not be willing to perform the source-type baptism on it if it made this request. Most of the Abyss World's demon apostles had strange tempers. Many evil demons might incur the apostles' displeasure because of the wrong breathing rate when receiving the apostles' reward. As a result, they were deprived of the opportunity to receive the reward. After making the request, the nothingness shadow demon felt apprehensive from the bottom of its heart. When Lin Yuan heard the nothingness shadow demon's words, he clenched his fists tightly. He was abnormally happy. After witnessing Gu Han and Di Wanqing's power today, Lin Yuan realized that immortal experts had an absolute suppressive power over emperor-class experts. Therefore, Lin Yuan really hoped that he could also grasp the power of an immortal expert. It could be said that the nothingness shadow demon had given Lin Yuan a huge surprise. Shadow, no problem at all. In addition, if there are any material requirements during the process of brewing the opportunity, you can tell me directly. I will do my best to help you break through to become a level 12-dimensional life form. Hearing Lin Yuan's words, the nothingness shadow demon was once again warmed. After feeling the surging warmth in its heart for a while, the nothingness shadow demon spoke. Master, during the process of brewing the opportunity, I don't need to spend any resources. I just need to quietly brew. Upon hearing the nothingness shadow demon's words, Lin Yuan suddenly thought of something and hurriedly asked, Shadow, will you encounter any danger during the process of evolving from a level 11-8 tribulation Fey to a level 12 Fey? Lin Yuan had never seen a dimensional life form that was level 8 or above evolving. Therefore, he didn't know if dimensional life forms would encounter the world cleansing and the calamity of creation like Feys. If the nothingness shadow demon was evolving into a level 12-dimensional life form, it would encounter a calamity that could lead to its death. Lin Yuan would be able to immediately report the situation to his master, the Moon Empress, and ask for her help. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the nothingness shadow demon recalled the calamity that the Moon Empress had to experience when evolving Feys. The nothingness shadow demon immediately knew what Lin Yuan was worried about. The nothingness shadow demon quickly replied, Master, we abyssal demons are unable to sense the opportunity to evolve when our strength is insufficient. If we sense the opportunity and want to evolve, we won't encounter any danger like when Feys evolve. It's just that when I evolve, it will cause a huge commotion. Upon hearing the nothingness shadow demon's words, Lin Yuan nodded. It was easy to find a place for the nothingness shadow demon to evolve into a level 12-dimensional life form. It was easy to find a place for the nothingness shadow demon to evolve into a level 12-dimensional life form. Therefore, he wasn't confident in letting the nothingness shadow demon evolve in the main world. However, the swamp world was an excellent place. He would arrange for the nothingness shadow demon to evolve in the swamp world. After communicating with the nothingness shadow demon, it quietly stayed in Lin Yuan's shadow and continued to sense that breakthrough opportunity. Lin Yuan went to a specialty restaurant. When he arrived, he casually ordered a cup of caramel milk tea. Then he dialed Zheng Kaiyan's number in the restaurant. Lin Yuan's call was quickly picked up by Zheng Kaiyan. Lin Yuan didn't talk too much with Zheng Kaiyan over the phone. He just reported the restaurant's address and name. He quietly waited for Zheng Kaiyan's arrival in the restaurant. Zheng Kaiyan hung up the phone and froze for a long time while holding the phone. Zheng Kaiyan knew that receiving this call meant that the Zheng family had lost to Sky City in the Blood Oath Extreme Duel. Even if Zheng Kaiyuan had invited the Miao family's 2 Emperor-class experts for help, Zheng Kaiyan's heart first hurt before he actually felt a kind of perverted pleasure. End of this chapter. Chapter 1135. Zheng Kaiyan had always felt that he was a caged bird abandoned by the Zheng family. Now, he could finally break out of the cage and take charge of the Zheng family. No one in the Zheng family would be able to stop him. Anyone in the Zheng family who could stop him had lost their lives in the Blood Oath Extreme Duel. With that thought, the last bit of pain in Zheng Kaiyan's heart dissipated. Zheng Kaiyan first touched his chest, then touched the wheelchair under him. He then shouted at the door, "The sun is pretty good today. Bring me out for a walk." Upon hearing Zheng Kaiyan's instructions, a man with a scar on his face walked in from the door. The scarred man could not help but feel puzzled. The wind in Indigo Azure City was very strong today, and the parasol tree branches in the courtyard were constantly swaying. Due to Third Young Master's physique, he had never liked windy weather. Why was he saying that the sun was pretty good today and that he wanted to go out for a walk? However, even if he had doubts in his heart, the scarred man did not dare to casually ask. The scarred man first covered Zheng Kaiyan's legs with a blanket and then pushed Zheng Kaiyan's wheelchair with ease. The scarred man did not know why, but he felt that the current Third Young Master was very different from the Third Young Master he knew previously. The Third Young Master's eyes were no longer forbearing, but freedom and ambition. The scarred man had been by Zheng Kaiyan's side for over a decade and had watched Zheng Kaiyan grow up. The scarred man vaguely remembered that he had only seen this kind of gaze when Zheng Kaiyan was young. He was currently struggling with the caramel milk tea in his hand. He had used the ethereal jellyfish's ability node to teleport from the royal capital to Indigo Azure City, so he was really thirsty. However, this store's caramel milk tea was simply too sweet. The caramel milk tea made him even more thirsty. He could not help but have a doubt in his heart. In the end, this store was too honest and added a little more sugar in the milk tea, afraid that customers would feel that it was not sweet enough. Or was the store too cunning and wanted to use this method to make customers order other drinks in the store? The more Lin Yuan drank, the more thirsty he got. He had no choice but to order a glass of ice water. Lin Yuan thought to himself, "You can't possibly add something else to the ice water, right?" After drinking the ice water that the waiter served, his thirst was suppressed. Lin Yuan was sitting in front of the window, and he could see Indigo Azure City's street view by turning his head. As it was past 9 in the morning, the busy people of Indigo Azure City were already in their positions. This caused the wide streets of Indigo Azure City to be sparsely populated. At present, most of the pedestrians on the streets were very leisurely, and Lin Yuan felt exceptionally leisurely as he watched these people's slow pace of life. Not long after, the door of the restaurant was pushed open again. Lin Yuan saw a man with a scar pushing a wheelchair into the store. Immediately after, the store's attendants went up to welcome him enthusiastically. From this, it could be seen that the person sitting in the wheelchair must be very noble. Zheng Kaiyan didn't pay attention to the waiters who surrounded him. Instead, he glanced around the restaurant. After Zheng Kaiyan scanned the area, his gaze stopped on Lin Yuan. Although Lin Yuan did not wear the mask that represented his identity as the Sky City Lord, his temperament was obviously different from the other diners in the store. There was an indescribable air of nobility. Zheng Kaiyan said to the waiters around him, "I'm meeting a friend. You don't have to worry about me. In addition, I'm booking your restaurant. Except for my friend by the window, I'll pay for all the other diners. Immediately arrange for those who haven't finished eating to eat elsewhere." After saying that, Zheng Kaiyan knocked on the wheelchair twice and pointed in Lin Yuan's direction. The scarred man immediately pushed Zheng Kaiyan in Lin Yuan's direction. Upon hearing Zheng Kaiyan's instructions, the restaurant's waiters hurriedly sent someone to make arrangements. The Zheng family was one of the 3 old forces in Indigo Azure City. Even if Zheng Kaiyan did not go out often, the waiters in the store would also deliberately remember Zheng Kaiyan's appearance. With the Zheng family's 3rd Young Master title, the waiters quickly completed the clearing. After clearing, all the other waiters returned to the kitchen. They left the front seats completely for Zheng Kaiyan and Lin Yuan. Only one waiter was left standing in the distance, ready to serve at any time. When Lin Yuan heard Zheng Kaiyan's instructions to the restaurant waiters, he raised his eyebrows and did not refuse Zheng Kaiyan's arrangement. Then, Lin Yuan waved his hand at the waiters standing in the distance and said, "We have something to discuss. We have something to discuss. We don't need your service here." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's instructions, the waiters hurriedly bowed at Lin Yuan and quickly walked to the kitchen. The waiters who left let out a huge sigh of relief. After the scarred man pushed the wheelchair in front of Lin Yuan, Zheng Kaiyan, who was sitting in the wheelchair, said to the scarred man, "Stand guard outside. Stand guard outside. Don't let anyone enter this shop." The scarred man stared at Lin Yuan a few times before looking at Zheng Kaiyan. It was obvious that he was very worried about leaving Zheng Kaiyan alone here. However, the scarred man did not dare to disobey Zheng Kaiyan's instructions and retreated outside the store. After the scarred man retreated outside the store, Zheng Kaiyan used both hands to press down on the wheelchair and propped his body up with great effort. Then he pushed the wheelchair backward, causing Zheng Kaiyan to kneel on the ground. Zheng Kaiyan immediately prepared to use the willpower rune to pledge loyalty to Lin Yuan. However, just as Zheng Kaiyan summoned the willpower rune, before Zheng Kaiyan could issue the loyalty oath, Zheng Kaiyan heard the youth sitting in front of him say softly, "As expected of the Zheng family's third young master. As expected of the third young master of the Zheng clan. The biography said that you were intelligent since you were young. Now that I've seen you today, you are indeed worthy of your reputation. But using the willpower rune to issue the loyalty oath now is a little too impatient. It is true that your attitude is very important, but if you want to become a servant, you have to see if you are worthy of being a servant." Lin Yuan's words made Zheng Kaiyan's body stiffen. Zheng Kaiyan was indeed putting on an act and wanted to use this method to give the person in front of him a good impression. When Zheng Kaiyan saw Lin Yuan's appearance, he was already secretly shocked. Zheng Kaiyan had seen Lin Yuan's appearance before. Zheng Kaiyan recognized Lin Yuan as the genius youth who had defeated the barbarian Snake Guild Club's Meng Su in one move during the All-Star Match. However, Zheng Kaiyan did not dare to associate the genius youth Lin Yuan with the Sky City's city lord. If the person who came was an elder, Zheng Kaiyan might not have put on such an act. However, Lin Yuan was just a youth, and most youths like to let their emotions affect their decisions. If he could leave a good impression at the start, he might be able to fight for greater benefits. However, he did not expect the other party to see through his tricks and address him as the Zheng family's third young master. This form of address caused Zheng Kaiyan's heart to turn cold. End of this chapter. Chapter 1136. The Zheng family had lost to Sky City in the Blood Oath Extreme fight, so they deserved to die. Lin Yuan's words indicated that if he did not immediately prove his value, he would follow in the footsteps of the other Zheng family members. At the same time, Lin Yuan mentioned that he had been smart when he was young, which meant that he had investigated him. Lin Yuan had investigated him and was willing to come over, which meant that he was willing to give him a chance to live and be loyal. However, he had to prove his value first. At that moment, Zheng Kaiyan racked his brains and could not think of what value he had. The Zheng family's experts had been slaughtered by Sky City, leaving only the 3 Nightmare Squad members by his side. It was not enough to support the Zheng family's overall situation. Suddenly, Zheng Kaiyan thought of the 2 Emperor-class experts the Miao family had lent to the Zheng family. Presumably, after Sky City had killed the 2 Emperor-class experts, it had formed a deadly feud with the Miao family. "My lord, I've collected a lot of secrets about the Miao family's beast creation garden. These secrets should be useful for you to fight against the Miao family." In addition, before Zheng Kaiyan could finish speaking, Lin Yuan interrupted him coldly. "When 2 tigers fight, the rabbit doesn't have time to breathe. Don't have any crooked thoughts. The Miao family's beast creation garden is a tiger in your eyes, but not in mine. You still don't know what use you have?" Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Zheng Kaiyan broke out in a cold sweat. Zheng Kaiyan did not intend to instigate a war between Sky City and the Miao family. However, Lin Yuan had clearly misunderstood him. Zheng Kaiyan's brain quickly pondered, and he finally said, "My lord, I'll do whatever you want me to do in the future." "Sir, I will do whatever you ask me to do in the future. I'll listen to your arrangements." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan smiled slightly. "The first thing you have to do next is to cooperate with the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce and let the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce absorb all the Miao family's luxury goods online and offline resources. The second thing is to stabilize the Zheng family's overall situation. Can you do these 2 things?" Zheng Kaiyan hurriedly promised. "My lord, I can strive to do these 2 things." However, I'm afraid some people will have objections if I let the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce take over the Zheng family's luxury goods online and offline resources. There will also be resistance when I do things. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan replied indifferently. As a direct descendant of an old faction, you should know that when you're making decisions as a leader, you should know that. How should we deal with people who don't obey the decision makers? Upon hearing that, Zheng Kaiyan was shocked. My lord, the Zheng family now has 4 Class 4 Creation Masters. These 4 Class 4 Creation Masters will usually be nurturing high-class luxury goods for the Zheng family. I'm afraid they will have objections. Lin Yuan let out a cold snort. Go and make the arrangements later. I want to meet these 4 Class 4 Creation Masters. I will settle the matter regarding the 4 Class 4 Creation Masters. If I get rid of these 4 Class 4 Creation Masters, you won't be able to control the Zheng family's overall situation. Then you really have no value at all. Zheng Kaiyan guaranteed in fear. My lord, without the obstruction of these 4 Class 4 Creation Masters, I will definitely be able to take control of the Zheng family's current predicament. When the time comes, I will definitely be able to complete the task assigned to me. After completing these tasks, I will do my best to use the Zheng family to provide the greatest value for my lord. Upon hearing Zheng Kaiyan's statement, Lin Yuan placed the ice water on the table and stood up. Sometimes, becoming a servant isn't a bad thing. If you do well, you might be able to leave that lump of metal behind you. Lin Yuan's words were like a piece of gospel that was transmitted into Zheng Kaiyan's heart. Zheng Kaiyan immediately used the willpower rune to swear and became Lin Yuan's servant. At the same time, Zheng Kaiyan was abnormally pleasantly surprised because the latter half of Lin Yuan's sentence was not deceiving him. If Lin Yuan wasn't deceiving him, then he just had to work hard for Lin Yuan in the future. Zheng Kaiyan wished to stand up even in his dreams and rely on his own legs to walk on the ground. The moment Zheng Kaiyan became Lin Yuan's servant, it allowed him to have authority and freedom of thought in the Zheng family. Now, Lin Yuan's words allowed Zheng Kaiyan to have freedom of body. When looking at Zheng Kaiyan's excited expression, Lin Yuan's expression didn't have the slightest change. Sky City had killed most of the Zheng family's people, so it could be said that Sky City and Zheng Kaiyan were related. Even if Zheng Kaiyan became his servant now, Lin Yuan wouldn't put him in an important position. Although the 4 Class 4 Creation Masters of the Zheng family didn't have the surname Zheng, they had lived in the Zheng family for decades and were no different from the Zheng family members. After the Blood Oath Extreme Duel's results were announced, these people could choose to leave the Zheng family and develop in other factions. Because these people didn't have the surname Zheng, even if Sky City won the Blood Oath Extreme Duel against the Zheng family, these people weren't considered assets of the Zheng family, and Sky City couldn't casually dispose of them. However, Lin Yuan, who had experienced faction struggles, knew that these 4 Class 4 Creation Masters had lived in the Zheng family for such a long time that they definitely had feelings for the Zheng family. These 4 Class 4 Creation Masters were destined to hate Sky City, which had slaughtered the Zheng family. Therefore, if these 4 Class 4 Creation Masters couldn't be of use to him, Lin Yuan wouldn't let these potential enemies live. Lin Yuan didn't want to waste too much time in Indigo Azure City because of the Zheng family. Lin Yuan simply asked Zheng Kaiyan to bring him to meet the 4 Class 4 Creation Masters. Along the way with Zheng Kaiyan, there was already news of Sky City and the Zheng family's Blood Oath Extreme Duel. Everyone in the Zheng family's ancestral mansion probably knew the results of the Blood Oath Extreme Duel. The 4 Class 4 Creation Masters of the Zheng family usually didn't care about Zheng Kaiyan, the Zheng family's third young master. Now that something like this had happened, and Zheng Kaiyan was the only remaining direct descendant of the Zheng family. Therefore, when Zheng Kaiyan had gathered the 4 Class 4 Creation Masters, they hadn't rejected him. The dead gathered in Zheng Kaiyan's study room. Zheng Kaiyan sat on the main seat in the study room while Lin Yuan sat at the side and sipped on a cup of steaming tea. At that moment, the last Class 4 Creation Master saw Lin Yuan and said to Zheng Kaiyan with dissatisfaction, "Third young master, you called us over at this time. You let an outsider sit in the study room when you called us over at this time. You are obviously disrespecting us. In that case, I don't think there's a need for me to stay in the Zheng family anymore. The woman's words were immediately echoed by the old man beside her. I think so too. What do you think we are by bringing an outsider to the meeting at this time? Feng Shuang, if you leave, I will leave with you. When Lin Yuan heard the conversation between the old man and the woman named Feng Shuang, he revealed a playful expression. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1137. Through the elder and Feng Shuang's words, Lin Yuan knew that these two Class 4 creation masters were not loyal to the Zheng family. They did not have deep feelings for each other. At that moment, a low, muffled voice echoed. A burly man who looked like a bear said, "Old he, Feng Shuang, what are you talking about?" "Old he, Feng Shuang, what are you two talking about? The Zheng family has been kind to both of us. It's immoral to leave now." The burly man said to Zheng Kaiyan, "Both of us are indebted to the Zheng family." After saying that, the bear-like burly man said to Zheng Kaiyan. The burly man said to Zheng Kaiyan, "Third young master, I'm willing to stay with the Zheng family. However, it's a favor for me to stay with the Zheng family during a time of crisis. When the time comes, the Zheng family will give me twice as many resources as before." As soon as the burly man finished speaking, the Class 4 creation master named Feng Shuang said, "Hu Tian, I remember that your main Fei is only at Suzerain Class 3/Myth I. The Zheng family has fallen, and the other two families in Indigo Azure City might be plotting something. If the Zheng family falls, the other two families in Indigo Azure City might be plotting something. If you stay and help the Zheng family defend the position, don't blame me for warning you if you die in the end." Hu Tian frowned and thought for a while before saying, "If it really comes to that, I will naturally leave. If it really comes to that, I will naturally leave. But the current situation is far from that stage. If the few of us stay, we might really be able to help the third young master." Hu Tian's words immediately provoked the feminine man who had been silent all this while to ridicule him. "Hu Tian, you speak so righteously, but don't you still want double the resources? In my opinion, the four of us might as well join the Miao family together. We are all Class 4 creation masters, and Old he is an intermediate Class 4 creation master. The Miao family has lost 2 Emperor-class experts and is in urgent need of expanding their strength. If we join the Miao family now, we will get good treatment." Second young master and madam were rescued by the Miao family's family head with 2 world crystals. It shows how much the family head values second young master and madam. The feminine man's words immediately made Feng Shuang and Old he ponder, and Hu Tian blushed. However, Hu Tian's eyes quickly revealed a thoughtful look, as if he was considering the feasibility of the effeminate man's words. After some observation, Lin Yuan had more or less grasped the nature and temperament of the 4 Class 4 creation masters. Feng Shuang and Lao he sought advantages and avoided disadvantages, unwilling to take risks. He had no feelings for the Zheng family that he had stayed with for more than 10 years, and his personal safety was the most important thing to him. Hu Tian had quite a bit of affection for the Zheng family, but he also valued benefits. Even when they were swayed by emotions, they would first ensure their own benefits. After hearing the feminine-looking man's words, Hu Tian did not refute him immediately. Instead, he revealed a thoughtful expression. This meant that, compared to feelings, benefits and development dominated Hu Tian's thoughts. On the other hand, Lin Yuan couldn't figure out the feminine-looking man. However, this effeminate-looking man wanted to develop his career in the Miao family, which meant that this effeminate-looking man had been very close to Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji in the Zheng family. It was just that this feminine man didn't know what was good for him. The Miao family's patriarch, Miao Zhinshan, had used 2 world crystals to redeem Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji. But it was definitely not because of Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji. Miao Zhinshan was probably the person who hated Zheng Kaiyuan and Miao Ji's death the most. In any case, in the face of Feng Shuang, who cared about her life, Lao He and Hu Tian, who valued benefits. If he wanted to subdue them, he needed to intimidate them and make them fearful. At that moment, the feminine-looking man spoke again. "After arriving at the Miao family, the 4 of us can continue to fight with Sky City under the Miao family's leadership. It can also be considered as doing our part for the Zheng family. At that time, the Miao family, before the effeminate-looking man could finish his sentence, his body was silently cleaved into two halves, and he fell to the ground. The sudden change caused Feng Shuang, Lao He, Hu Tian, and Zheng Kaiyan to exclaim. Zheng Kaiyan had been listening to Feng Shuang, Lao He, Hu Tian, and the feminine-looking man's words and had been thinking about what Lin Yuan would do. All four of them had requests, and their emotions were rather complicated. Zheng Kaiyan could not think of how Lin Yuan would make Feng Shuang, Lao He, and the others submit. Who would have thought that he would use this method to break out of the situation? He would kill the feminine-looking man who had wholeheartedly submitted to the Miao family and would almost never submit to Sky City. He would use the feminine-looking man's life to intimidate Feng Shuang, Lao He, and the others. Feng Shuang, Lao He, and Hu Tian immediately wanted to summon their fays in fear when they saw the change in front of them. It could be said that the scene in front of them was beyond the scope of Feng Shuang, Lao He, and Hu Tian's understanding. However, the three of them were very familiar with this scene. This was because they had just seen this scene in the Star Web report. The two Emperor-class experts that the Miao family had sent to help the Zheng family had been silently split into two in the extreme arena. At that moment, the three of them only heard a clear and pleasant voice. However, this clear and pleasant voice was like the king of hell's urging in their ears. Whoever summons their fays will be the next one to be split into two. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Feng Shuang and Lao He immediately trembled. Hu Tian was much stronger than Feng Shuang and Lao He. However, in the face of Lin Yuan's death notice, Hu Tian did not dare to act rashly. Feng Shuang, whose teeth were chattering, could not help but ask, "You're from Sky City. What do you want?" Looking at the split feminine man on the ground, Lin Yuan stored the man's body in the diamond fey storage box. Then he instructed Feng Shuang, Lao He, and Hu Tian. "The ground is dirty. The three of you, clean it up." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Feng Shuang, Lao He, and Hu Tian's faces revealed obvious resistance. The three of them were Class 4 creation masters and were used to being flattered. Usually, apart from concocting the spirit fluid, there would be people to take care of everything. The three of them had never done such a disgusting cleaning job. But in the end, without Lin Yuan's urging, Feng Shuang and Lao He took the lead to clean the ground. Upon seeing that Feng Shuang and Lao He were about to clean the ground, Hu Tian suddenly thought of the feminine man who had just been split into two. The feminine man had been split into two because he had said that he would join the Miao family to fight against Sky City. A single sentence could invite death. Hu Tian was afraid that after Feng Shuang and Lao He cleaned the ground, he would follow in the feminine man's footsteps. Because he did not take action, he would follow in the feminine man's footsteps. Thinking of this, Hu Tian also hurriedly joined the cleaning work. Upon seeing the situation, Lin Yuan nodded. Since the three of them had listened to his orders, it meant that it was not impossible for him to make them submit. It was often easy to conquer a person by grasping the weakness of human nature. Lin Yuan felt that he did not need to spend any more effort to immediately obtain the loyalty of Feng Shuang and Lao He, who valued their lives and safety the most. "It has been a long time since I voted. Do you think I should be more decisive in killing or more benevolent? Do you think this chapter's level is cold-blooded?" End of this chapter. That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.